terrifying, isn't it? This is Picon's revenge, a being so powerful that even Godzilla would say, yeah, nah, I'm not fighting that. It's the leader of the many mutated creatures that live on the Primal Fear Island. And scarily enough, I've just woken up alone on one of the beaches of this island with no memory of how I got here. All I remember was that I was sent here to defeat Picon's revenge to prevent the spread of these powerful mutated creatures. So with me now being stranded on this island, I'm gonna have to build up from scratch, raise an army, and defeat Picon's revenge within 100 days. Alright, I've just woken up on this beach with nothing but some underwear covering my cheeks. I'm not totally sure where I'm at, but I'm fairly certain I'm on the island that I can vaguely remember being sent here to defeat Picon's revenge. And I'm sure I actually had some way to actually defeat Picon's revenge when I left for the island. I obviously don't have it now. So the odds definitely aren't in my favor, but I still have to finish the mission. So I started off with the usual beach bob ritual, aka smacking a tree for a pickaxe. Okay, let's first make a pickaxe. And I followed that up by hitting a rock to get some flint and then turning it into a hatchet. But besides these basic tools, I would also aim to craft the reusable spear that this mod offers, as well as I will probably be throwing a lot of spears starting off. So I used the freshly crafted hatchet to smack a nearby tree a couple of times and then press E on my keyboard a few times and boom, I now had unlimited spears. And of course, I immediately put them to the test when I spotted this toxic dodo just minding its own business. Hopefully this would also give me a bunch of experience as well. Okay, I've got its attention. They're pretty quick, but I should be able to kill this one more. Maybe another. Yes. Oh, not as much levels as I thought, but whatever, I'll take it. And since I was still in need of hide, I continued my hunt. Should also kill some other normal dinos for regular hide, including this dodo. I'm not sure what dodos ever did to me, but they should consider themselves ops. You as well. Also, I'm fairly certain the art gods are listening to me. So the key to Primal Fear is you need to get them out as soon as possible. Ask and you shall receive. Oh my... That thing just spawned in right in front of me. But this was not the type of mount I was referring to, so I left it alone and continued running down the beach, looking for more opportunities to commit violent crimes. And I soon ran into another victim, which provided me my first bits of chitin. Ooh, I'm gonna kill this for chitin. Sorry, buddy. And after beating its lifeless course, I got a decent amount of chitin, which would be really helpful for making flyer saddles later on. Ooh, alpha dodo. Bunch of big dodos. I need to kill these for levels. But as they say, size does not matter because it got sent to the afterlife with just a few spear throws. Right, 3 levels, I'll take it. That's not bad at all. The way you increase survivability in this mod is to not put points in the health, but rather into stamina and movement speed, as in these early stages, basically everything can one-shot you anyways. So anyhow, while aimlessly running around, I stumbled across a cave that looked pretty safe to settle down into. Oh, there's a cave. I do not know much about this island. Oh, it's just a dead end? Honestly, this can make for a pretty safe place to live for now. But first, I gotta get to gathering some actual resources to keep progressing. And by progressing, I mean kill a few more ops to level myself up because I still wasn't high level enough to actually make a forge and smithy. Oh, another alpha dodo just like that. Hey there. Hello. I'd like to tame that parrot. I don't know how though. Distractions aside, I packed up the dodo with my spear and got my first bits of modded loot. Some decent narcotics. I'll take that. Ooh, and 5 levels. Awesome. And after killing another toxic dodo, I decided to take a break from harassing the oversized dodo population, and instead I actually decided to befriend a dino. I should make some primal spears and tame a parasaur, honestly. I'm gonna need some of the farm narco berries, need more fiber for some reusable bolas. So I got to picking the bushes around me, and I made 2 primal spears just to be safe. Now safe is the only thing I was not on this island, as you're about to witness. Whoa, what's getting attacked? No! I didn't even see it! No! What is an Elder Fjordhawk? Well, past Granty, the Elder Fjordhawk is your greatest nightmare. You just don't know it yet. So anyway, I ran back to my corpse and got all my stuff unharmed, but the Fjordhawks were still surrounding the beach, so I decided I would venture inland. This could be a horrible idea, but... What is that? Bunny? But the creatures just got weirder in the forest. That's a giant Meganora. As long as I wasn't getting my face eaten off by Fjordhawks, I was fine though. Well, that's 1 death on the counter. Forgot that I'm counting those in this challenge. For now. Make sure to comment or guess how many— Oh! I was trying to talk. Instead, I got my face eaten off by a furry raptor. And that isn't even a modded creature. Well, that's 2 deaths on the counter now. Anyway, what I was saying was, comment below or guess how many times you think I'm gonna die in this video. And don't skip to the end. If you cheat, I will find you. I will end you. Aside from that, I gotta get back to my body again, so I snuck up to a rock and quickly discovered my first few metal nodes. But this was no time to let distractions get to me, so I pulled out my sneaky skills and started slowly crawling towards my body. And I patiently waited for both the raptor and furry raptor to run off into the forest before standing up and sprinting towards my body. So I ran over, grabbed all my stuff, and immediately returned back to what I was doing. I did just barely escape death number 3 with all my stuff, but the metal nodes were still up there waiting for me. So on day 2, I tried to look into a different part of the forest, and I saw something glowing in the distance, so I turned around and ran the other way, which actually led me to exactly what I needed. Metal nodes. And after harvesting the metal, I started running away as I was still in danger. But even while running for my life, I still had the time to put an end to this Alpha Dodo's career. You can never say no to free loot, right? Well, at least there's actually some crystal up here, meaning I can make an awesome spyglass soon to make life much easier. And I did manage to mine more than enough crystal for the spyglass. But then I got ambushed by possibly the most dangerous creature on this ark. No! 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 It was a vanilla Dilo, and I panicked so hard I chose to jump into certain death. Another death onto the counter. Luckily, respawning, I could see my body's beam straight away, so I ran back to it, and I grabbed my loot. And I also made the awesome spyglass and started heading back towards the cave I discovered earlier on. But not before harvesting this free gift from the turtle. Ooh, you guys killed something. Thank you. Okay, I'm back at the cave. And I didn't waste any time, and I got straight to work on making a little starter outpost inside this cave. So after smacking a tree with both my metal hatchet and pickaxe, I made the foundations and a forge to start cooking this metal. This cave should be pretty safe from threats. But I still need to get a parasaur to farm berries with, because if you didn't know, this mod Primal Fear is all about taming. And to start taming, I'm gonna need a lot of narcotics and tranks. I do want to tame a parasaur, but I need more primal spears. So I'm just gonna farm narco berries while I have metal smell. So I press E furiously while waiting. And after making my first primal spear, I return back to the cave where I can now make the smithy. S plus smithy. Do it early on day 2. Only took 3 deaths. And I also made myself a metal pick, but I was starting to run low on food now. And I also like to make a campfire. Enough of living off berries. Well, I say living, but let's be real, I probably won't be living very long. Anyhow, I also made a metal hatchet, and I was now more confident than ever to go out and get me a parry. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can't find a parasaur I can knock out and tame. But the ones outside my cave were all Primal Fear parasaurs, which I couldn't tame just yet. They're all alpha parasaurs, I can't tame them. That's the toxic one, still can't tame it. Just want a normal parasaur. But I did spot a normal parasaur down the beach, but I was now getting chased by a thorny dragon. But by using 10% of my brain, I positioned a carbo between me and a thorny dragon to get it distracted. But then I remember I can just flatline it. I've got to help kill this thorny dragon. The carbo should have it, being honest. But I'll still help. These turtles are actually the heroes of my story right now. They shall be remembered till the end of this 100 days. Anyways, back to the plan, the parasaur. I threw my spear straight into the parasaur's eyeball, and that sent it to sleep. That did a lot. I did not expect it to knock it out in one. And I also force-fed it a tame helper, and it was up before I could even make the saddle for it. And also, I named it Perry. You know, you just gotta. Let's craft the saddle. What do I need? Some hide. Perfect, that this thorny dragon just died. So I made the saddle and put it on Perry and started gathering berries. Oh, hey there. Foolish mistake on the Dilo's end to underestimate the raw power of Perry, but I appreciate the free XP nonetheless. And crafting primal spears now became a breeze with Perry. Ooh, I also have a crystal for some spare. Forgive me. Balls. The next tame on the agenda is an Elder Moschops, as these guys are really good starter tames, but it's just a matter of finding one and knocking it out. But honestly, that shouldn't be a problem with all the primal spears I can make, so I continued gathering all the necessary resources. And I farmed up around 30 primal spears, which should be more than enough. Alright, and next I want to make a raft to sail down the river, hopefully avoiding all the Elder Fjordhawks during my search for an Elder Moschops. I had everything I needed except for the wood, so after dropping 2 trees, I crafted the raft and returned back to my base to prepare for this adventure. I think now I'm gonna go out and look for an Elder Moschops thing. I ran down the beach with Perry and placed on my raft, and I put Perry into my pocket just to be safe and set sail. Alright, let's go find an Elder Moschops. And I actually didn't have to go too far away before I spotted my first Elder Moschops. Oh, there's one, way up there. But it wasn't the optimal level I'm looking for. Level 55, I don't think I can knock that out. I need a lower level. I need like a level 20. But after continuing down the river and seeing all the danger around, I think my best bet is to actually go for that level 55 regardless. Then Elder Moschops, level 55 might be my best bet. Yeah, dude, I'm going for it. Ever heard the sentence, when pigs fly? Well, pigs might not, but Moschops, yeah, they can fly. Oh, it just got hit by something. What? Blind Moschops aside, it's time to get to taming. There it is. Usually Moschops don't fight back when you hit them, but knowing this mod, it would probably try to kill me, so just to be safe, I farmed up some stone structures to make it stone 1 by 1 to keep me safe from its attacks. Let's set up the shack. And with my little cube built, I started knocking it out by throwing a bola, then stabbing it with my primal spears. Okay, I just gotta watch the bola timer. And when I got free, I ran away and hid in my stone box. Okay. Did it just run? I think it just peaced out. Well, it did just peace out. I still jumped IRL when it peeked over the hill, and I spilled water all over my desk. No! Anyways, after cleaning up the mess I made, I would revise my taming plans a little bit. Honestly, My best bet might be to like bola it and then just trap it. Since it had so much torpor, trapping it with a bola and then stabbing it would take centuries, so instead I would rather bola it once and build a trap around it to keep it in one place. Oh my god, is it coming for me?
Hello there.
Oh my god, it definitely is. It definitely is. I'm so cooked. Oh. It likes to play games, really got me with that one. I'm gonna make a bag in here just in case. On day 3, I decided to man up and go outside of my box to check on the moss shops. But it turns out that was a major mistake. Dude, it is. What? Good thing I just placed the bag. Holy. I didn't place the bag. Oh my. We can't be serious. I crafted it and didn't place it. Also, that's death number 4, and the leading cause of death right now is the furry raptors. Not even modern ones. But don't worry, we're not done yet. Oh, there's fjord hawks. No. That's 5. Oh. Deaths like these are very common in this mod, so if you want to play it for yourself, don't worry. Dying to things like this while running around naked on the beach is not a skill issue. You need to have like 60 seconds of immunity in this mod. Yep, just for reasons like that. Okay, maybe it is a skill issue, but this was starting to become personal. Why are they targeting me? They're just avoiding the dodos and going straight for me. Death number 7, I think. I don't know, I'm starting to lose count at this point. So I chose a different spawn location, and it actually put me right past all the fjord hawks next to the moss shops. And I also spotted another furry raptor that started a chain reaction of deaths. But the furry raptor was no match for my stealth mode, so I crouched down and slowly started approaching my bag. And once the fluffy murder chicken had distanced itself from my stuff, I ran up to the bag and got my stuff. I quickly snatched everything and ran back into my box, and this time I actually placed down the sleeping bags I made. Bags going down. And I made another one just to be safe. It only cost me 3 deaths to get my stuff back, but those are still rookie numbers in this mod. Anyway, back to what I was doing. Are you mad? Why are you mad at me? The f*** you say to me, you little s***? Oh, I didn't mean to knock you out. My bad. Threw the wrong spear. Free hide is always appreciated, I guess. Alright, pillars. My plan is to bowl the fat chops and quickly surround it in pillars so it can't run away in a random direction. So I got to work on hitting trees and bushes for fiber. And I made 8 pillars thinking it would be enough, but I soon found out just how fat this moss shops really is. Not optimal. I'm encumbered. So I made a storage box to fix that issue and slowly waddled closer to where I last saw the moss shops where I placed it. But the fatso kept moving further down the beach. But my primal nostrils could still smell the stench of my arch nemesis lurking around though. It's a Deinonychus. It was almost knocked out from fighting that toxic dodo, but I still didn't feel like messing with it, so instead I just prayed it wouldn't get up and try to eat my face off again. But here goes the taming process. Attempt number 1. I pulled out my bolas and threw them at the moss shops and started trapping at it. Dude, this is not going well. I was completely fumbling the placement though, and to top it all off, I didn't even have enough pillars to fully surround this chub. Can you get out? Oh! But I'm not ready to give up just yet, so I picked up the pillars. I think I need like 2 more to actually trap it. But I was still a little bit on the heavier side, so I made us another storage box to actually keep my spears in for the time being. And I continued hacking away at trees for wood and crafting more pillars. Whoa! No, don't! Was that really necessary? You had to destroy my box. I'm gonna pay with your life. After clapping that toxic dodo, literally toxic dodo, it was time to tame this oversized moss shops once and for all. So I immobilized it once again and began constructing the cage around it. And this time I made sure to leave no gaps between the pillars. I don't know how it can get out of this. We'll see. But even with all the layers of fat and chump on this moss shops, it still somehow squeezed out of the cage, taunting me in the process. What? It can walk through pillars? Bro, it must have the hitbox of like a normal moss shops. What am I supposed to do about this? Well, I actually didn't think it'd be able to fit through all those pillars, considering it's almost as fat as your... Well, I just wasted a bunch of time. Looks like I just gotta make gates like a normal person. Anyway, I smacked up the nearby rocks and demolished the pillars so I can make some gates instead. Alright, maybe I can finally get it with gates. If I can't get it with 5, I don't know. And for the 3rd time, I yeeted a bola and surrounded it with gates, and I also added a few pillars just to be completely safe. Pillar. Not taking any risks. Okay, no way it can get out of this. It has to be stuck in here. What? I swear these dodos are cooking up a revenge story on me for all the harm I've done to them back on day 1. Also, I made 1 extra pillar just in case, but I couldn't place it down properly due to that weird snapping mechanic. I don't think it can get out. Let's go get the spears now. But after the long process of trapping this fat moss shops, I finally had a moment of relief knowing it was 100% trap and couldn't escape again. So I began bowling it again and stabbing it with my spear. And I also wanted to place another sleeping bag down, but I didn't have enough hot... Oh, Would you look at that? There also happens to be a light strobe just standing right next to me here. So a spear to the noggin and a few stabs later, I had my sleeping bag.
Just in case anything bad happens.
I also made a bow since I did have some trank arrows in the other storage box, so I grabbed them and returned to test those out as well.
How much does that do? 200, 300 per?
And I then found out it could damage my puny wooden gates. And it was also doing some heavy damage with just a single bite. And there's not really much I can do here, I just gotta tough it out and keep tranking through.
Just gotta keep repeating the process and then let it heal for a little bit.
Also, I don't know if you caught this, but the dodo that tried to sneak up on me was still laying right here on the floor clapped, so I chopped it up and dropped the bag.
Oh, this had more tranks. Awesome. Alright, halfway. Definitely gonna have to let it heal for a little bit.
But my main concern quickly changed.
Primal Tech Enforcer. Oh my god. You can't be serious. If this ruins my tame, I'm gonna be so mad.
Aside from being under constant stress, I continued stabbing the moss chops.
Go to sleep, bro. Holy, ain't that deep. You'll wake up. Trust me. You'll be mine.
Yeah, dealing almost 40,000 torpor by hand was quite the daunting task, but I did it in the end.
It's so close.
But with that enforcer now just meters away from me, I went for the final bola and the final few stabs with the spear, and the chump was quickly sent to sleep. So with the moss chops out cold, I gave it some berries and started praying.
Dude, that enforcer's right outside. I'm praying it doesn't do anything. Please just aim.
But my prayers seemed to have worked, as the fat moss chops was quickly up and I wasted no time in shoving it into my own pockets. And once the coast was clear, I threw it out again and named it
Gina. I don't know.
And Fat Gina over here did quite a bit of damage.
It's quick. Still gotta be careful though, because this thing's strong, but not crazy strong.
And apparently it just loves eating sand for some reason, or it has a weird hitbox, or actually because it sticks its head straight into the ground.
Whoa. I don't know why I just got a bunch of levels, but Gina's a beast now, all that matters.
And after that long adventure, I waddled back to my base on Gina.
Oh, perfect. It can come inside my base.
It only took me a day and a half to tame this thing, but I'm now practically undefeatable in any combat situation. So now with the added security of this absolute beast, I can now continue my progress by farming up some forges to later make a smithy and eventually more metal tools. But apparently I let my guard down too soon, as I got attacked immediately outside my cave.
Oh my god. I'm gonna go to sleep. You better be on neutral. Yep, there I go. Got jumped as soon as I left.
Once my guy stopped snoozing on the job, I got back to farming.
Pronto, hey there. I'm gonna turn you into hide. That was easy. Oh, that's a lot of hide. Yes, dude, I finally have power. Oh, I've been getting dogged on for too long.
And I eventually made the forges that I came out to get and returned and placed them back down and started cooking up the metal.
Place all these glorious forges.
And after a quick look into the crafting menu, I discovered a cheap way to heal my dinos for the time being.
I want to heal Gina up. How do you... Oh, healing... Oh, those are cheap.
Time to farm up a few of these, I suppose.
Oh, all the healing suits. Easy. And they only cost berries to make.
Now that I had 7 unemployed forges, I had to obviously occupy them, so I began the deforestation of the forest in front of my base.
Now let's go farm a ton of metal.
But not before starting a campfire to cook some meat so I don't starve. Okay, now I can get to metal.
Wow, this gets a ton of metal. This is a good pickaxe that I got, pretty sure, from killing that dodo or something.
While trying to mine, I got a taste of a Primal Tech Parasaur bite. Well, Gina did actually. My fragile human body wouldn't be able to tank that much damage.
Okay, it's dead though.
So anyway, I continued mining up all the rocks I could find until I was nearly encumbered.
Alright, that's a lot of metal. I'm gonna go back to base now.
And progress was coming along swiftly. After splitting all the metal into the forges, I made a crossbow, and I now actually want to go out and get a male and female dodo to start progressing in the mod itself. Also, I know I barely have moved into this cave, but I'd still like to aim for a PT or something so I can leave and look for a better base spot in the future.
You need some crystal for some more soul balls though.
But while running up the hill, I almost got Gina's head obliterated by a weird dodo.
Oh. What the? A neurotic dodo. Oh my god. Ow, ow. We gotta go. No!
I couldn't let Gina die like this, so I quickly hopped off her and put her away into a soul ball. That was way too close for comfort. I can't afford losing Gina this early on.
I need a reusable parachute. Shoot, fiber.
So after making a parachute, I floated all the way over to the crystal I saw, and I mined it up and turned it into some more soul balls.
There's that neurotic dodo. Thing has more health than Gina.
Moving on, I returned back to the safety of my base to heal Gina back up before heading back out again. So after kitting up, it was time to go back out. And with the soul balls acquired, it was time to do some dodo taming. More specifically, stabbing them with my primal spear and then feeding them and then turning them into voluntary workers. I swear they want to work for me. They're not being forced whatsoever. Although this ichthy thought he was him, so I quickly put him back into his place.
Ooh. Gotcha.
And of course, I taunted on it with the moss shops too. But besides dogging on that annoying bird, I tamed a few more female dodos.
Alright, there's the last dodo I'll tame.
3 females and 1 male would work just fine. So I returned back to my base and threw them all out so they can start their voluntary work, of course, and their work being laying eggs. Waking up on day 5, I used my manly voice to command my dodos to do some more unpaid labor.
Hey, eggs.
Besides goofing around, I also wanted to progress today, so I set my focus onto a tool that would come in handy for the rest of these 100 days. That tool being the soul gun, so I can trap my dinos in dire situations from a range. Also, I might as well see what I need for the first tier of kibble while I'm at it.
Check out this kibble. And I'm gonna need crops. I forgot about that.
Yeah, getting the dodos is only like half of the equation towards progression. Next up, I needed to start growing some more crops. So leaving my base, the Ark gods gave me a little bit of a sneak peek of what I was progressing towards.
Whoa. Alpha P. Oh, 130? I'm nowhere close to being able to tame that. I think I can, like, trap that in a stone box and save it. Alright, hold up.
Let me cook here. I ran down the beach back to where I had my moss shop trap, and I picked it all up and crafted some more thatched ceilings. Upon returning to where I last saw the Alpha BT, I spotted something even better.
Oh, Alpha 140? Hello?
Except I was about to take a fat L.
Oh! They can't be bullied.
I guess I got too greedy with that one, and the Ark gods wanted to teach me a lesson, but at least I still had the 130 around. Anyways, I demoed the wooden gates and made them into vanilla ones so they wouldn't auto-open.
Let's craft normal ones so they don't automatically open.
The fact that you can't bully the Alpha PTs just made this like 10 times harder, but I'm not gonna give up that easy. Attempt numero dos.
What? How did you walk through that? Oh, no. Every time. Oh, stop! It's so stupid they can't be bullied, but this thing could be bullied.
Okay, maybe after the 4th failed attempt, it's time to actually give up and leave. I did want to try again, but now it just wouldn't land.
Dude, this thing's not landing. This is just a waste of time.
So I returned to what I was doing originally.
Alright, back to what I was doing. Crop plots.
I chopped down a few trees and smacked a couple of rocks. And when it came to fiber, I think it's about time then to make a sickle so I don't have to pick the fiber up by hand anymore. So I returned back to my smithy to make one and checked on my unpaid workers.
Lay some eggs. None of you are doing your job.
Perhaps I should start paying them. Just kidding, back to farming I guess. And I better see some eggs waiting for me the next time I come back to base. Anyhow, I crafted 12 crop plots and ran down to the beach where I'd placed them right next to 2 overpowered water dinos fighting. I know, this placement is just genius.
Holy. This thing better not eat my crop plots, man. These are irrigated. Are they gonna work? Alright, now they're definitely irrigated.
Maybe I just don't trust this game as much, but it's better to be safe rather than sorry. Alright, now it's time to make the most important part of every greenhouse, the toilet. You gotta make the fertilizer somehow, so why not just produce it yourself? Anyways, I was still missing a few resources to actually craft the toilet, so I got on Gina and headed inland, starting off with metal. And this random gang of bugs got me covered with chitin, so I can turn it into cementing paste. So I then returned back to my base, and to my surprise, I actually got what I was hoping for.
Lace? Oh, you laid an egg. Thank you. Finally, somebody got the memo.
Turns out you don't have to pay them. Not that I ever intended on doing so. Anyhow, I proceeded to farm the stone inside the cave for paste, and I also crafted a bed and placed it down. Should have done this earlier, being honest.
Craft a bed just in case. Death is inevitable in this mod.
Now, I had all the resources I needed, so I made the toilet and headed out.
Alright, let's go do some business.
I started producing fertilizer at an inhuman rate while my moss shops just kinda stared at me. This is a sentence that nobody in the history of humanity has ever uttered. Hopefully. It'd be weird if they did. But besides that, I distributed the fertilizer into the crop plots.
Got a decent amount of fertilizer in each. Now it's time to get the seeds for all the crops, which I'm gonna do with my parasaur, which isn't optimal, but don't have much of a choice right now. This guy has some seeds.
Pause. I kept on plucking all the bushes until I got all 4 seed variants.
I need citronal. Oh, I got 1. I need 3 more. Okay, I have 1 more. Oh, I got it. Bang. Subscribe for that engaging content. That is very farming.
And I seeded all the crop plots as day 5 came to an end. Day 6 began by checking on my voluntary and fairly paid workers.
Stop the cap!
Dude, it's only this. Okay, that one laid an egg. This dodo's putting in overtime while all these other ones are slacking. Hey, eggs.
Time to make more upgrades to my mod progress. So we got the crop plots going, check. And we got the dodos laying eggs, check. Now I need to craft the primal smithy, which I need to make literally every single thing that this mod has to offer. But I was missing 2 pieces of crystal, so I went out to gather them real quick and swiftly returned back to my base where I made the primal smithy.
Okay, awesome. Primal smithy. I'm already running out of space over here. Alright, that works. So this is where I can craft all the Primal Fear stuff. Mostly the kibble. So I've got to cook up a bunch of toxic kibble so I can tame toxic dodos so I can finally get the alpha and tame those alpha pteranodons. That's the goal. Okay, I just need the rock carrots. Oh, I already got 2 rock carrots. Ooh. Seems to producing. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so I can make 3, I think, toxic kibbles. 3 toxic kibble, just like that. Day 6, I'm on the come up. I haven't died in a while.
Hopefully the Ark gods didn't hear me say that.
Let's go knock out some toxic dodos. What's that? Ooh, necrotic dodo. No thanks. Those things are terrifying. Alpha dodo, no. Ooh, alpha dino. There's a toxic dodo right there. Bro, you ain't winning this, buddy. No, don't hit the dodos. Oh no, this could be bad. That alpha dino won. Ooh, it aggroed the parrots. Oh, it's dead. These dodos need to chill. No! I will get revenge. I hate these fjordhawks. They're about to ruin my day. Got it! That's what you get. Oh, there's so many toxic dodos! What? Why are there so many of you?
So I started knocking them out one by one.
You're going to sleep. Alright, don't die from this. Oh. Dismiss. 9 health. Crazy clutch.
And I fed both of them, and that was 2 females and 1 male to go.
Alright, now I just need a male toxic dodo. It's a female. Perfect.
2 spear throws and 1 kibble, and it's mine.
Perfect. Let's go throw these guys out back at base. And then honestly, I think I should tame an Oviraptor as well, since I'm pretty sure if they're just by your egg-laying dinos, the egg-laying dinos will lay more eggs. Which is what I want. I forgot, if you mate them, do the fertilized eggs work? Let's find out. Surely not, but might as well find out. And then alpha kibble needs citronal, cooked meat, maleberries, and toxic eggs.
And my parasaur was also contributing towards progress.
Ooh, dinosaur egg. 3. Another toxic kibble. Hey, Lucas actually put in work. Laid an egg. Alright, now will these work? No. Okay. Fertilized eggs don't work. Makes sense. So I'm gonna go tame another toxic dodo and then hopefully an Oviraptor as well. Oh, I forgot the kibble. Good, I caught that. Oh, toxic egg. Thank you.
And I pulled up to the beach again and soon found the next victim and stabbed it a few times, fed it, and it was now mine.
Awesome. Now let's find an Oviraptor. Hopefully.
That was easier than expected.
Oh, there's one. Hey there.
1 spear straight to the dome, and it was sent to hibernation.
Oh, I forgot they like eggs. 11? That's steep.
So you already know the solution to this problem, and that was an extended period of hibernation.
Yeah, I'm just gonna act like that didn't happen. Don't question where I got this hide from.
Anyhow, I returned to my crop farm to see what it had yielded.
You ain't destroying my Oh! Did that just aggro to me? I just want my crops that I grew. Because they're mine.
And back at base, I summoned the new dodo to do unpaid labor for me.
Thought you a friend.
And I made my first alpha kibble.
First alpha kibble? That's what I'm talking about? Oh, I have a crossbow with tranks. Ooh, can I tame an alpha granodon now? Please tell me I have enough kibble. Now that I want to tame one, I'm not going to be able to find any. That's how it works in Ark.
However, I was wrong since I soon found the 130 from before.
Oh, it takes 1. Oh, wait. I don't know if I'm going to be able to... I don't have enough strong enough tranks to knock it out. Shoot.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the fact that I actually have to put them to sleep before taming.
Alright, I'm gonna have to figure out how to trap it.
So back to the original plan I go because it went super smoothly last time, right? No, but this time I have no choice but to make it work. So I returned to my base and grabbed the gates, pillars, and ceilings and got back to the Pteranodon.
Wait, how did you fit through that?
And just when I thought I had it trapped.
No! No! Oh, I had it perfectly trapped. Just had to start spam placing ceilings and it would have been mine.
Attempt number 2 went a little bit better though, as I got it surrounded and started placing down ceilings.
Please don't be able to get out of there. Oh, I for sure got it. I for sure got it. Yes!
Boy, was I wrong.
We can't be serious. There's no way it just fit through that. How did it just fit through that?
A huge L, but I can't give up, so I picked up the trap and tried again.
Land. Psych! What? Bro.
But on my 3rd attempt with the help of my moss shops.
Did I just get it? I swear I have it.
After that tormenting 2nd attempt, I finally had it on the 3rd and I could finally start knocking it out. So I kept on making tranks and shooting it.
Oh, I've so got this, dude.
Until it eventually knocked out and it was mine.
Yes! There's no way.
And out of pure excitement, I named it.
Redbird. That's so crazy I pulled this off.
So victorious, I picked up the trap for the last time and returned back to my base to make the saddle for it.
Okay, I just need a bit more alpha hide. Then I got it.
And my dodos were putting in the work.
Dinosaur eggs. I'll take it. Ooh, bunch of toxic eggs. Thank you.
And I then left my cave to go look for some more easy targets that could give me a little bit of extra alpha hide.
I just need like one alpha creature, bro. There we go. That's not enough hide, are we serious?
But a second Ilo clutched it.
Please just give me enough. Yes, that should be enough. Thank you for your contribution to my PT saddle. Awesome, Alpha PT saddle. I'll be able to take to the skies on day 7.
On day 7, it's now time to find a new place to live. Something more permanent, and that shouldn't be that hard since I can actually fly now. The first point of interest was these waterfalls under the green obelisk. Perhaps there's a huge cave inside of it? Well, not exactly.
This would be a nice place to build, but it's really big, and I don't think I can cover it up well enough.
So I started looking around the mountains, but...
Oh! Okay, I'm gonna stay away from that mountain. Yeah, not safe.
As the sun rose, I ventured through the forest, mountains, and the redwoods. All my homies hate the redwoods. I flew island to island and into the desert where I eventually found something of interest.
This is honestly looking like a pretty good place to build. It's nice looking, and there's like one choke point. I don't really think I have to worry about flyers too much, so I've just got to actually take it over.
The only concern was actually being able to carry all my stuff on my PT, as I didn't really feel like flying back and forth multiple times. But I guess the only way to find out is to return to my base, so I started flying back, avoiding most of the danger around. Imagine trying to do this on a land dino. That would be horrifying.
Oh! Spirit Rex. I'm gonna continue flying back to base now. That's terrifying.
Spirit Rexes weren't the only thing I would need to distance myself from, though.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that nearly ended my whole career along with plans of moving bases. Anyhow, I finally made it back to my base in one piece and started packing up.
Oh, I should be able to carry all my base easily.
And I picked up all of the essentials and I put the dinos into the soul traps and got ready to leave.
Okay, let's move out. Hopefully not die on the travel over.
I soon arrived, but I wasn't expecting any guests, so I pulled out Gina and served them accordingly. This is now my private property, and I do not appreciate any intruders walking on my lawn. Anyway, I placed down the foundations in the smithy, and I had a bet as day 7 came to a close. Day 8, I wanted to make the whole base stone, which I'm pretty sure cannot be damaged by modded dinos, so I got to work on harvesting the rocks nearby for stone. And I first replaced all the thatch foundations I had my structures on, and then I placed down the forges and the primal smithy. And I then threw out all the dodos to continue doing their unpaid labor for me.
Oh, nice.
And of course, I have to make some narcotics in the mortar and pestle as well. And speaking of narcotics...
Alright, I think the next tame on my list though is probably going to be a Bronto, just because I'm going to need a bunch more narcotics. Better narcotics, specifically.
First of all, I needed to make potent narcotics, which require tintoberry and narcoberry seed. Potent narcotics can be turned into toxic narcotics, which can then be turned into all the other different types. But for now though, I got on Perry and picked up whatever bushes I could near my outpost to make the first tier of better trank arrows.
Alright, I've got 26 potent tranks. I wonder if that's enough to tame our Bronto.
So I took off on my PT to go look for any Brontos that I could find. Maybe a toxic one would do. But then I remembered something I left back at my old base.
Oh, I left my crops at... Oh, what a dumb move. I'm gonna fly over there and get my crops. Completely forgot about that.
While on my way over, I came across a ton of Brontos, but looking at their torpor, I would probably just stick to taming a vanilla one.
Oh. They have a lot more torpor than I thought they did. Yikes.
Anyways, once I arrived at my old base, I pulled out my trusty pickup gun and started packing up all of my crop plots. I'm glad I remembered to come back here as this had a ton of fertilizer left over.
Okay, got all my crops though.
Anyways, then I took a quick look inside the now abandoned cave to see if I left anything behind. Other than some meat that I split in my inventory to spoil and a few berry seeds, there wasn't much of interest, so I began the flight back to my base. And on my way over, I spotted one of the cooler looking dinos in this mod.
Whoa. Dominus Rex.
If I remember correctly, you can seal their eggs that they drop out in the wild and then hatch one of them to get your own. But I don't want to risk losing my only flyer right now, so I continued my travels.
Oh my god. I remember that thing. Skeletonized Tyrannosaur. Bad memories. Bad memories.
And back at base, I quickly hosted new guests.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Terrorbird? Yeah, I don't think so, buddy.
Then I flew down to the waters to set up my crop plots and toilet once again.
This beach isn't looking too safe though, I won't lie.
I'm gonna ignore the dangers for now though and just set it up. Alright, now that the crop plots are placed down and fertilized, I seeded them with whatever seeds I had on me and deposited all the remaining fertilizer. I was still missing a few seeds though in a couple of crop plots, but I would eventually fill that, don't worry. And when I got ready to leave, I almost forgot to actually set up the water irrigation pipes, so I did a quick 180 back to the beach to place them down, and of course we cannot forget the toilet. Yeah, you gotta have a toilet in every greenhouse. Even though I can't call this a greenhouse as it's kinda just out in the open. Anyways, enough yapping about my crops and toilets, it's time to get back to work on my new base. I made a preserving bin and some spark powder to keep my crops fresh for the time being.
I'm not sure how much this preserving bin will actually do, but I'm gonna try and keep these crops from spoiling as much as I can.
And yeah, it wasn't too bad. Almost 2 real-life days for one crop to spoil. I think that's gonna do just fine for now.
I think I am gonna make up a few more tranks though before I go out and tame a Bronto. Just because I don't really want to get stranded without them.
But then my plans rapidly changed when the Ark gods knocked on my door and delivered a gift of this animal right to me.
Oh, Anki. You high level? Oh! On my doorstep? You shouldn't have, Ark. I will be taming that.
Psych, I'm lying. I would not be taming that because there are modded Enkies in this mod that probably farm way more metal and way quicker. So I'm sorry, Ark gods, but your gift is not appreciated. But regardless of that, I continued picking bushes with Perry as well as picking some hide from leftover bozos that messed with the wrong dinos.
What happened here? I always like free hide.
The one issue with this location was that there was a severe lack of bushes, and even if I got a Bronto to the farm, there wouldn't be much to farm because there aren't many bushes to actually harvest.
Not a lot of luck getting narcoberry seeds. Definitely gonna have to find a better place to farm berries though.
Once I had enough of forcefully shoving my Parasaur's head into the bushes, I returned back down to my crop farm on the beach and filled the few crop plots that still weren't seeded.
I'm gonna give these crop plots that don't have seeds some seeds so they can start growing as well.
And with that now out of the way, I returned to more narcotic farming. And I first made a bunch of arrows which I then turned into potent trank arrows before the end of the day. Starting off day 9 by farming more seeds to make some more trank arrows so I can finally tame a Bronto. And while minding my own business, a nearby Daedon got clapped by a weird looking racer, and as you know, I always appreciate free stuff, so I went over there and harvested its corpse.
Oh, something died. Alpha Daedon? I'll take free alpha hide.
And I then made some cheap healing stews that I could keep my dinos alive. I can make a ton of them with just berries, so it's basically like better medical brews, but you can use them on your dinos as well. And it wasn't a bad way of leveling up either.
They also give a lot of XP apparently.
Anyways, with all the arrows crafted, I headed out on my Pteranodon to look for a Bronto that I could tame.
Let you ever no thanks. Just want some Brontos. A Bronto to be specific.
And now there were plenty to choose from, literally. But they were all standing inside one another for some reason.
I'd like this 135. Can't really tell which one it is though.
But thanks to the spyglass, I could single out a level 135. And after I shot it, they all scattered out so I could actually knock out the one I came here for. Also, being able to shoot off the back of this Pteranodon is a massive W. Other than the fear of running out of tranks, I also had to keep the Bronto away from dangerous creatures such as that Spino that the Bronto was straight beelining for.
Oh no, do not go towards the Omega Spino. Are you stupid? Oh my, this thing's probably gonna die. This thing's definitely gonna die. Don't hit the Spino, whatever you do.
I did want to return back to my base real quick to get some Meho berries to actually tame the Bronto, but chaos started to unfold rather quickly when something started shooting towards the Bronto.
Oh no. It's gonna die. Get away from that thing. No.
And a dead Alpha Bronto nearby was not a good sign either, other than the fact that it's free resources. Anyways, I landed at my outpost and grabbed whatever Meho berries I could find, and I then quickly returned to the Bronto.
That Alpha defense unit is scaring me. I'm not confident in this Bronto living.
But it just keeps getting worse.
Oh, this thing, oh my god. An Origin Rex? We can't be serious. This thing is so dead.
So I have to try and get it to leave. So I went in to hit it, hopefully grabbing the aggro in the process, but
it just doesn't care.
yeah, I guess it just doesn't even deem me as a threat, nor a snack, so instead I returned to tranking the Bronto out. And it did go to sleep soon, but I was now getting messed with by an Elder Hesperornis. Nothing I can't deal with though, so I clapped it.
No, you ain't getting away now, boy.
Alright, back to the Bronto. It wasn't drowning, which was a good sign, but the danger was still all around me.
This Omega Spine does make me nervous.
Thankfully, nothing else interfered though with the taming process, and the Bronto was soon mine.
I think I got it. Yes. I'm not gonna name it just yet. I gotta get back to base.
I'm pretty sure I aged like 5 years from all the stress I just endured, but that was just a basic Bronto tame. Nothing special.
So now I need to find a good spot to farm berries and seeds and all that stuff. Ooh, skeletonized Rex.
I would soon find out the Rex was barely an issue though, because however, there were different problems waiting for me back in my base.
What? No! That's right below my base. Oh no, did I just aggro that? Oh my god.
The answer is yes. I was now being chased by an ice griffin which somehow disappeared once it landed. Anyways, now that I know that there's a literal flying boss underneath my base, I needed to act quickly and enclose my base to protect all of my dinos and items. So I first got on my moss shops to get rid of any uninvited guests in my area.
Oh yeah, you're getting clapped, buddy.
And after taking care of that business, I returned back to my smithy to make a Bronto saddle and put my newly long-necked friend to use just below my base.
Oh yeah, this should be better.
As fun as swinging my tail around was, I accidentally hit an oversized ichthys, so I had to pack it up so it wouldn't eat my berries.
Oh no, don't eat my stuff.
So I returned back to base and looked through the engram page.
I need to make darts.
But for that, I'm gonna need a bunch of metal, and currently my forges were kinda unemployed, so I split some wood into each of them. So on day 10, I got on my PT to look for a good spot to farm metal at.
Not really sure where any good metal spawns are, so I'm actually gonna have to search around and look for it.
Just to confirm, I had to look inside the green obelisk waterfalls again, but of course, after bonking my PT's head against the rocks, I continued my search for metal in the desert. But instead of finding metal, I found this.
I kind of want to tame that outer phoenix.
It was a good level 2, and if I remember correctly from my 100 days on Scorched Earth video, the Phoenix is actually a rather quick flyer, so it would definitely come in handy. But first, I gotta find metal, and I didn't want to get distracted by stuff all the time, so I gotta lock in, and I flew over to the mountain besides this empty desert. And there, I found a few bits of metal nodes. However, close was a Primal Aloe, quite a fearsome creature that I definitely cannot mess with at the moment.
So gotta be quick, I guess.
But the Aloe wasn't the only menace guarding this mountain, however. Up top was a Celestial Ferox that I probably don't want to disturb. So I tried sneakily landing next to the nodes, but I immediately got aggroed by some nameless. Not a big issue though, I can just kite them off, right? Wrong. As soon as I landed, it ran up almost a 90-degree steep hill.
What?
I don't know what they put in this guy's coffee, but I want some of it. How is he able to run up that steep hill with such ease? And good thing I did try and leave, because when I got close to the other side of the hill, this thing popped out of the ground.
Hi.
I'm gonna farm metal somewhere else.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep my distance from the mountain for a while. Anyways, I flew over to the hills besides the jump scare mountain and actually found a few rich nodes. And just as I spotted more nodes to farm, I got ambushed by a gang of Elder Fjordhawks. But unfortunately for these bozos, I could C-spin them a few times and they were all sent to the afterlife. That's what they get for spawn camping me earlier on. Anywho, I was actually getting a decent amount of metal from each node thanks to this journeyman pickaxe I had. And as the sun came up, I had enough metal to satisfy my needs for the time being. So I returned back to my base where I then distributed all the metal into my forges.
Alright, that's about 500 metal in each forge, not bad.
And I then deforested a few trees to keep my forges burning longer.
How dare you!
While this metal's smelting, I'm gonna farm up a bunch of spark powder and then use the charcoal for gunpowder so I can make trank darts, because honestly, using these arrows to knock out the Bronto is a pain.
So I got to hacking away at all the rocks near my base when I then started turning them into spark powder. And I also made a second mortar and pestle just to speed up the production. Anyways, soon enough, I was making gunpowder and a few simple rifle ammo to turn into dart casings, which can then be filled with different type of modded narcotics, which are super strong at tranking out stuff.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're producing darts.
So obviously, next up I had to make a long neck to actually be able to shoot the darts. Anyways, my next tame on the list was a fabled Megachelon, as they produce a ton of resources that I need to make kibble.
I do actually need to find a fabled Megachelon.
And for that, my friends, I will use my trusty GTA San Andreas cheat code of crouch, crouch, equip, sickle, and boom.
Oh, ha ha ha. That's what I'm talking about.
And with the help of this mod, I can see all the creatures currently on the map and where to find them. A very useful tool for Primal Fear specifically. Is this considered cheating? Maybe. Do I care? No. My game, my rules, and it's just a mod. It's just a mod, man. So anyway, I found a low-level Megachelon and highlighted it. And now I could see its exact location without the game menu. So I got on my PT and made my way over to the ocean while barely avoiding being sent to instant death from some overpowered celestial being. But once I arrived to the Megachelon,
I feel like this Megachelon is deep in the ocean. Not optimal. I flew all the way across the map for this too.
Anyways, I hopped off my PT to see if I could spot the giant turtle, but it was way too deep for me to see anything.
Bro, why is it so far down there?
And while looking at the dino menu again, I came to the realization that getting this oversized seashell is far without my reach at the moment, since I don't even have the fabled tier of kibble available to me yet.
Oh yeah, I will not be taming a fabled Megachelon for a long time. I don't know why I flew out here.
I barely have one alpha creature that doesn't even lay eggs yet, so I took the flight of shame back to base. Except for the flight wasn't so shameful since I came across this thing.
Oh, Rudolph! 130? I gotta tame Rudolph. Rudolph's a really good mount and can get around the map really quickly.
I was missing bolas though, so I quickly gathered some stone and thatch to make a reusable bola, and I got to taming. I trapped the fluffy reindeer and got to try out my new long neck along with the modded darts.
Oh yeah, I'm taming Rudolph. These darts are so much stronger than those arrows.
And after hitting it in the noggin, it was out cold, so I rushed over to gather some Meho berries, and I fed it. And while waiting for it to tame, I got jumped by a toxic sabertooth, which almost instantly sent me to sleep, but thankfully my PTs got me covered and clapped it.
Oh no! Rudolph definitely got hit. The taming effectiveness. Maybe he didn't get hit.
Anyway, I did finally make it back to base, but with no Megachalon. But at least I do have Rudolph, which I think will come in much more handy than this oversized sea turtle. Also, my dodos were putting in overtime, as both the regular ones and the toxic ones produce 4 eggs. Pretty welcoming, to be honest.
Anyway, Rudolph saddle. Hide. I need 42 more hide.
So I think we both know what's about to happen. Question is, what creature am I gonna sacrifice to Gina? Oh, perfect, a Pego. Nobody likes these things anyways. Anyway, killing it got me 41 hide, just 1 away from what I needed. Even in death, they are still annoying. But I guess it's fine, as I also munched away at a Sabertooth and some Mantis, which got me some Polymer as well.
Awesome. And a ton of chitin as well, holy.
So now I have everything to make the saddle, right?
What? Bro. How am I just missing stuff?
Apparently not, but I was just missing fiber, so I got out my sickle and whacked the one bush that I saw nearby. Anyways, moving on, another item I want to make is a soul gun. I'm pretty sure I wanted to craft this much earlier, I just didn't have the necessary resources for it. But now I've got pretty much everything I need except the cementing paste. So I quickly made some of that in the mortar and pestle from the chitin I just got from killing that mantis. That honestly really came in clutch, providing me with both polymer and chitin to actually make the soul trap gun. Anyhow, I saddled up Rudolph and took him out for a spin.
So this thing's already really quick on its own, but how do you go like super quick? Oh yeah, just like that. Oh, this is gonna make traveling so much easier.
Since I can now fly around the map in Mach 5, I wanted to find and farm up some rare flowers and rare mushrooms so I can start getting more stronger narcotics and tranks. So after doing some research by definitely not looking up a tutorial, I concluded that I gotta find a swamp somewhere. Mostly because in these swamps you can find both rare mushrooms and rare flowers if you just harvest the right bushes. So I grabbed my Bronto and took off for the swamp where I first tested the raw power of Rudolph.
So how much damage does this thing do? Not a ton.
It could, however, make these creatures vanish, which was pretty cool.
I think I just sent it to the Shadow Realm.
Anyways, time to get what I came here for. I was looking for some sort of mushroom that I could harvest to get rare mushrooms from.
Like this, yes.
And just as I predicted, I got both rare flowers and mushrooms from that.
Oh yeah, we'll be chilling.
I know. Sometimes my genius, it's almost frightening. Anyways, a few more tail swings later, I got more than enough flowers and shrooms, so I returned back home and started making a bunch of potent narcotics. And I then turned those into toxic ones that can be made into multiple different types of narcotics. I just need more toxic blood right now. So for now, I made as many potent narcotics as I could, and I turned those all into alpha infused narcotics.
Dang, that's what I'm talking about. I have some super strong darts now. I'm gonna turn those all into darts. Now I can knock out whatever I want for a while.
But first, I have to make some upgrades to this base. I don't even know if I can call it that yet. Anyway, starting off, I made and placed a campfire to start cooking more meat.
Alright, I'd like to tame a few alpha dodos just so I can get alpha eggs going, and then I'm gonna work on expanding the base and making it more secure and all that.
To make alpha kibble, I was once again missing toxic blood, so I went out on my PT to look for potential victims. And a culprit was quickly found near my crop farm, so I ended its career and returned back home where I quickly gathered a few seeds to make more narcotics. And I then made 5 alpha kibble and headed out to look for alpha dodos.
Alpha dodo female. Perfect, you're what I'm looking for.
So I sent it to sleep with a single dart to the face and it soon tamed. Next, I actually ventured over to the beaches I started off on, as those had a ton of alpha dodos over there back when I was just starting out. I was still searching in the day 12, and I did eventually find a male that I knocked out and tamed.
Alright, let's find 3 more females, then I'll get back to base.
And then I got the absolute genius idea to just open up the creature finder menu to actually find what I'm looking for. I'm glad I actually remembered to check this because it showed that there were no alpha dodos anywhere near me, but there were some back towards my base, so I marked one and flew over to it. When I got over there, there were a bunch of outer fjordhawks actually swarming around the dodo, and in the process of eliminating them, I may or may not have accidentally ended the dodo as well. No, it killed my dodo! Not to worry though, as not too far away, I found another female alpha dodo, and I sent it to sleep and then actually tamed it. Next, I returned back to my base and threw out my 3 dodos to start producing some eggs. I know I wanted to get 5, but this will do for now.
I can always get more later.
Instead, I want to tame an alpha dodic with the alpha kibble that I had left over. It would come in really handy to gather stone for my base upgrades. So I found a 145 using the creature finder and made some tame helpers in the primal smithy.
Alright, let's go tame this dodic.
And just before leaving base, I got a surprise from one of my alpha dodos in the form of an egg. Once I made my way over to the dodic, I had to make some adjustments to the local dino population before I could start knocking it out.
Hit it, dodic. Yeah! Double team this guy.
And after hitting right click to kill the Dinopithecus, I sent the dodic into the Shadow Realm. Actually, it was just outside of my render distance, but the way it disappeared was just pure comedy.
My bad. Are you cool? Okay.
Anyway, it's now a free tame. With no threats around, I knocked it out and tamed the living stone ball and headed back out to my base where I made it saddle. And I'm really glad I tamed this little guy, as I was getting a bunch of stone from each swing, so I continued mining up all the rocks on my plateau. Then I got on Rudolph and flew over to the Redwood Island to farm some wood by hand. I did try to use Rudolph, but it seems he harvests way more thatch than wood. Shortly after that, I returned back to my base where I started crafting a ton of foundations.
How many foundations can I craft? 77? That's what I'm talking about. This is gonna take forever, but whatever.
And I finished crafting all the stone foundations as the day was slowly coming to an end. And on day 13, I began by moving all of my tames out of the way and expanding on my current platform.
Alright, well this is definitely gonna be probably one of my biggest bases.
I wanted to make a giant stone box to keep all of my dinos safe. Reason being, as this is still Primal Fear and no amount of my dinos can stop a random Primal Manticore from spawning near my base and ending my whole career in a single attack. So I got on my doe to farm some more stone again, and then I looked into getting something tamed for farming wood. And looking at Creature Finder, a 145 Alpha Theory could be the perfect contender.
That'll be a good wood farmer for sure.
But first, I still gotta actually prepare everything for the tame. And that started off with me getting some toxic blood from a kind donator, being this dodo. And then I made 5 alpha kibble and a tame helper to speed up the taming process. But before leaving, I also stacked up more trank darts.
Alright, 63 darts. Hopefully that's enough to knock out this theory.
So I flew over to it with my trusty Rudolph and started tranking the tickle chicken off the back of it. And a few darts later, the theory was out cold. So I fed him both a tame helper and kibble, and just like that, he is now forever loyal to me. And I also named him
Red Tickle Chicken. Awesome.
With a wood gatherer now required, I flew back to base where I made him a saddle, and then I beelined straight to the Redwood Island to actually try him out.
Oh yeah, 5,000 wood a tree? That's insane.
So after left clicking a few trees, I had more than enough wood to finish basically my entire base. So I then farmed a little bit of thatch with my Rudolph and then returned back home where I did some quick math to calculate how many foundations I would need to finish the floor of my base.
So I need 126 more foundations.
And I basically had exactly the right amount of resources to make up those foundations, so I began the long process of crafting them all up. And while crafting, I did actually fly down on Rudolph to a nearby pond to drink up, but I was rudely approached by a hater.
What? No!
Thankfully, it was just a vanilla Capro, and I clapped it with my hatchet while Rudolph was kind of just staring into the ground.
Thanks for nothing, Rudolph.
Don't really know what he's doing. Anyways, following that traumatizing event, I stayed back in my base until all the foundations were finished crafting. And then I started placing them all down. And as I finished the floor, I realized I may have made a mistake somewhere in my calculations.
Oh, I did miscalculate.
So the only logical solution would be, of course, to expand the whole thing even further. So I placed down whatever foundations I had left and got to crafting some more. And once they were all done, I placed them all down and got a look over the whole thing.
Now that is a big platform. Now I've just got to put in walls, ceilings, and all that.
Day 14, I made a stone behemoth gate that I would use at the entrance to the soon giant-to-be base. But first, I gotta actually make the walls, so I took all the necessary resources and crafted a few extra large walls.
Now I gotta figure out, how do I snap this?
The placement was a bit janky since the gate was a tiny bit smaller than the gap left by the walls, but I guess I can work around it somehow.
Oh, that's annoying. There's little gaps right here.
But it would definitely serve its purpose of keeping me and my team safe once the whole base is finished. I also made a few extra walls and placed them down on the inside to cover up the gaps.
Alright, it still looks a little weird, but it looks better than just being able to see right in. And I know it's uneven. I don't want to hear anything about it in the comments.
And I placed the remaining few walls that I had down and then got back on my dough to fill up my stone stocks again before crafting even more walls. And I then made a dino gate to have a smaller entrance into my base, as well as a double door so I don't have to open the giant behemoth gate every time I want to get inside my base. Moving on, after that, I kept on crafting and placing walls all around my base. I also picked up my dodos and placed a gate on the back side of my base before running out of stone once again.
Alright, back to farming more stone.
While swinging my tail around, I did accidentally obliterate a normal doe, but bro was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, shouldn't have been there. Anyway, once I had around 20k stone, I rolled back to base, and I made 9 more extra large walls, which should just be the right amount to finish the walls around my whole base. Now, I just need some regular walls to fill in the gaps above the gates.
16, 32, 33 walls.
And I placed them all down with the help of Rudolph, and I crafted the behemoth gate, and I already felt much more secure inside. Then I did some more math for the ceilings.
Alright, so if my calculations are correct, I should need 229 ceilings.
But before doing that, I wanted to get my egg production up again. So I made some more cementing paste to craft a soul terminal to keep all of my dodos and other progression dinos in, as if you didn't know, dinos can actually produce eggs inside the soul terminal, so you don't have to leave them all out. It also collects the eggs for you since they just kind of appear inside and you don't have to check on them at all.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about.
To set it up, you just have to store all of your egg layers inside and go to the automation settings, and in the options menu, enable unfertilized egg generation.
Alright, so now eggs should pop up just over time.
In the meantime, I continued farming stone until the end of the day, as I'm gonna need a lot of it to make all the ceilings. Alright, day 15 and most of day 16, the footage looks like this. Yeah, not really sure how this happened or why it's so zoomed in. Anyway, I'm gonna say what I did while my editor helps you visualize what I did with whatever he chooses to put on screen, and I'm just gonna pray that it isn't cursed. For the first, I'd say about 70% of the day, I crafted and placed stone ceilings until my base was finally 100% enclosed and safe, hopefully. Anyway, after that, I decided I wanted to tame an Alpha Enki to speed up metal production, and so I can afford a Primal Industrial Forge, which will make smelting anything a bazillion times faster. So I got my taming gear and located an Alpha Enki on the map and rode Rudolph over to the location. But when I arrived, I noticed there was a Tortuga, Master of the Sea, circling in the water just below the Alpha Enki I wanted to tame. And turns out it also noticed me because it then proceeded to obliterate me with its cannons, which you can actually see even with this cursed goofy footage. But I was able to fly back on my EPT and grab my stuff before the end of the day. The Alpha Enki was also sadly killed in the attack, however, though. Day 17 began with me extinguishing my thirst in a very sanitary pond below my base. Next, moving on, I want to tame up an Alpha RG to be able to farm more efficiently with my other farmers. But after looking into the creature finder, I quickly realized that taming one would be an issue.
Alpha RGs do not exist.
A skill issue at that, because once I actually spelled its name correctly, they all showed up.
Oh wait, I just spelled that name wrong, okay.
So I prepared my taming gear and got on Rudolph to go tame the 145 that I marked. And once I flew over, I shot it 4 times before it went to sleep, and feeding it just a single alpha kibble, it was tamed and now mine. Returning back to base, I threw out my new friend and named it
Red Bird. Yeah, I don't know.
Besides that original name, I gathered a bit of fiber and flew down to the beach on Rudolph to get some more alpha blood and hide. This alpha PT would be just fine, but once I actually killed it, a Primal Tech Parasaur attacked me and ate the corpse. I do appreciate the donations of its resources, however, I was still in need of alpha blood and hide, so I used the creature finder to mark an alpha paracer. And I flew over to it and asserted dominance before whipping out my hatchet and basically getting all the things I need for the RG saddle.
Yes, awesome.
With this mission now passed and respect earned, I returned back home where I then made the Alpha RG saddle. I was aiming towards getting an industrial primal forge. I already had a bunch of metal, but not quite enough. So as with most of my fresh tames, I took the RG out for a farming run along with my Enki.
I'll put you in a ball just to be safe.
And I flew all the way out to the snowy mountain where I knew I could find some rich metal nodes. And just as I thought, the Enki was getting a ton of metal per swing, so it would now be a breeze to farm metal.
This is big metal farm. Holy.
I did have to fly to a different part of the mountain as I was a little bit too close to this dodo wyvern and I didn't really feel like getting clapped right now, but it was fine. Anyways, I think it's fair to say that I farmed more than enough metal for both the primal forge and any other appliances I'm gonna need down the line. But on my way back to base, I got harassed by a bunch of fjordhawks, but I sent them back to hell where they came from. Anyway, back at base, I distributed the metal into my forges, and I then threw out my ferry to gather some wood as my forges were running a little bit low on wood.
So I need a lot more stuff for this. I need crystal, obsidian, oil, and polymer.
I also realized I'm actually yet to make a fabricator, so I swiftly made one to make hard polymer.
Need to find a bunch of obsidian.
So on day 18, I took my Enki and flew over to the top of the snowy mountain again. This time with Rudolph because I didn't feel like traveling for 3 centuries. Anyways, I found a strange rock that gave me metal and element ore, but no obsidian.
A rock drake egg? What? Dude, I'm just looking for obsidian.
Pretty cool that it's just chilling here, but I didn't grab it as I don't really need a rock drake anyways. So I flew over to the blue obelisk where I actually found some obsidian and I got to mining. I definitely wasn't getting loads of it per swing, but it would do for now. And I also did manage to grab some crystal while at it before getting absolutely owned by a noglin.
What?
My own thing killed me. Respawning back at base, I rushed outside to gather a little bit of fiber to make another Rudolph saddle. And after crafting one, I saddled up another Rudolph and flew back over to the blue obelisk. Once I arrived, the Noglin was nowhere to be seen, but I grabbed all of my stuff and returned back to my usual business of getting crystal. This time, I got harassed by an RG. Well, I say harassed, but it was just a pathetic attempt at killing this absolute tank of an Enki. Anywho, I got whatever crystal and obsidian I could find, and I then flew over to a different hill and I found a few nodes here and there, but no big groups. So after doing a circle around basically the whole map, I returned with whatever I had gathered and I was still missing a lot of cementing paste. So I got on Rudolph and went over to visit my loyal friends, the beavers. I know they've been lacking on paying their taxes again, so I did them a favor and took all of their hard work away from them. I then ventured into the swamp and into the rivers where I found more beavers hiding their unpaid taxes as well. But this time I got hit by karma. As I jumped into the water, I got attacked by a third-party criminal trying to help the beavers evade their taxes.
Oh!
And to make matters worse, my only other Rudolph that had a saddle was now on my dead body. Also, I didn't even have the resources to make another saddle, so instead, I got on my PT and flew back over. Rudolph was still thankfully alive though, so I whistled him over. I then hopped on his back and sent all the creatures back into the Shadow Realm, allowing me to safely grab my stuff and continue my taxman duty. Moving on, as night was approaching, I flew down into the river next to the redwoods, and I killed a fabled beaver which dropped a ton of useful loot.
Oh!
I also didn't forget to harvest its body for fabled blood either. Then I stole this. My cementing paste. I didn't steal it, they just need to pay their taxes. My taxman duty came to an end on day 19 after not finding any more beaver dams. So I returned home and fixed my flak, and I also farmed a little bit of fiber. Another resource I was running low on was hide, so I headed out on Rudolph to commit some war crimes against Morellatops. But my carnage quickly came to an end when something demonic threw bombs at my crop farm.
Oh! Oh!
I don't really have a way of dealing with that right now, so I dipped back into the safety of my giant stone box that I call home. I still didn't have all the paste I'm gonna need for my forge, however. So the rest of it, I started crafting in my mortar and pestle. And now the only things I needed for the forge were polymer and oil. The metal would slowly smelt over time in my forges while I was out getting the other things. So anyway, I hopped on Rudolph and traveled over to the desert to kill mantis for polymer. And I did actually run into a trio, but once I actually ended them and harvested them, the amount of polymer I actually got was pretty disappointing. So after a bit of me looking around and finding nothing, I opened the creature finder menu to point out the mantis for me. I really need to stop forgetting that I have this at my disposal. Anyways, I returned back to base to grab my RG before heading out again to one of those marked mantises. And once I arrived, I killed it and harvested it with my RG. And it got me a little bit more polymer, but nothing to celebrate. On to the next victim. This one actually dropped a very decent amount. Now we're getting somewhere. So I flew over to what would be my next target, but my plans got slightly interrupted. Buffoon Ferox. Literally, but I can't be mad. I'm playing Primal Fear right now. Anyways, I spawned back in and got on Rudolph as usual. But once I made my way back to my body, the Ferox was camping on top of it. So I waited for it to skedaddle before grabbing my stuff and continuing my mantis hunting streak. Just kidding, I killed one more mantis and then returned back to my base as I already had all the paste I'm gonna need for the new forge. Day 20 began with me piecing my flak back together after getting demolished by a jumping, exploding Ferox monkey thing. Anyway, with oil being the last resource I need for my new forge, I looked into getting some oil pumps.
Crystal and electron. I have the electronics, so I have the crystal.
Since they weren't too expensive, I made 3 for now and went out to look for any nearby oil nodes that I could place them on.
Alright, let's go find some veins.
I looked around the desert where I thought I'd be able to find some veins easily, but I was wrong. It took me quite a few minutes to actually just find the first one.
Oh, there's a vein.
So that's oil pump 1 out of 3 down. I did actually try to use the creature finder to find another node, but that didn't work.
Boy, this works. No, they're all just oil jug bugs.
Well, at least I tried, right? Anyways, I found vein 2 out of 3 next to one of the mountains.
Another oil vein right here. I think that might be all that I'm actually getting.
So I returned back to the first oil pump, and it actually produced a little bit of oil for me while I was searching for the second vein. But I did want to upgrade my forges sooner rather than later, so after returning back to base, I conducted a very detailed plan on how to get oil quickly.
Dude, I could kill Basilosaurus for oil.
So I made a scuba tank and some flippers, and also highlighted a basilo on the map and flew over to it. And once at its location, I dove down to it and killed it. And I started harvesting its corpse, and just as I thought, I got a ton of oil from it. I'm really feeling like an American right now. Unfortunately, a swarm of mantis saw me committing the crime of basic American needs, aka getting oil. Anyways, they were quick to get on my case, so I whistled my Rudolph on neutral before I got eaten alive by the mantas. Back at base, once again, none of my Rudolphs are saddled, so I hopped on my PT, but this time to actually get some hide so I can make said saddles. But even that proved to be a challenge, as once I tried to harvest the corpse, I got exploded out of nowhere.
Bro! What killed me?
So after waiting a decade for my bed to be off cooldown, I jumped back on my theory and ran down again to get my PT and some hide. Anyway, with the Rudolph saddle now made, I jumped on the back of another one and finally flew back to my initial corpse. And I grabbed all of my stuff and whistled that Rudolph to follow me back.
Bro.
Once he was done with his tomfoolery, I jumped on his back and shot the other one with my soul gun before returning home where another surprise was waiting for me.
Bro.
I can't really deal with that manticore right now, so I waited for it to distance itself before running inside. I only had to wait for some more metal to smelt before I could finally craft the industrial primal forge. Day 21, it's time to keep progressing with my dinos.
Elemental kibble, that's the next stuff I need to tame.
And I almost forgot about my blown up crop plots. I flew down to collect what remained of my once flourishing crop farm. And I then returned back up to my base and crafted 5 elemental kibble. And after that I went out to farm fiber because I gotta construct a new crop farm now. I crafted new crop plots plots, more irrigation pipes, and this time I flew down to the desert part right beneath my base. There were a couple capros waiting for me though, so I took care of them, but because I wasn't watching my stamina, I ran out and flew right into the mouth of an apex capro.
Oh no. Oh, no way, I just ran out of stamina.
What's the death number? I don't even remember. I stopped counting a while ago. Let me know in the comments if you know what it is. Anyways, I jumped on the back of Rudolph, but just before I could get to the capro and kill it, my PT died.
Bruh.
Anyways, I can't pout on that loss though. So I started placing down crop plots, but I clearly wasn't welcome in this neighborhood as I got jumped once again by another apex capro. Whoa! But when I returned, Rudolph had already killed the capro, and thankfully none of my crop plots were broken either. Moving on, I then split all my fertilizer into the crop plots and returned back to base to repair my armor once again. But now I don't have any crop seeds that I need to actually seed the crop plots, so I got on Perry to farm some.
Time to get crop seeds once again.
And once I had at least 3 of all the different seeds that I needed, I returned to the crop plots and seeded them all.
Crops are growing once again.
Anyways, back to taming. I have the elemental kibble, and I also made some apex infused trank darts. And with whatever charcoal that I had left, I also turned it into gunpowder to make more simple rifle bullets. Alright, side note here, this desert pond is really becoming an issue. I went down to just grab a quick drink of water in the middle of all this, and I instantly got caproed again.
No! Thank you, Rudolph.
But this time, Rudolph did have my back. Day 21, it's time to keep progressing with my dinos.
Elemental kibble, that's the next stuff I need to tame.
And I almost forgot about my blown up crop plots. I flew down to collect what remained of my once flourishing crop farm. And I then returned back up to my base and crafted 5 elemental kibble. And after that I went out to farm fiber because I gotta construct a new crop farm now. I crafted new crop plots, more irrigation pipes, and this time I flew down to the desert part right beneath my base. There were a couple capros waiting for me though, so I took care of them, but because I wasn't watching my stamina, I ran out and flew right into the mouth of an apex capro.
Oh no. Oh, no way, I just ran out of stamina.
What's the death number? I don't even remember. I stopped counting a while ago. Let me know in the comments if you know what it is. Anyways, I jumped on the back of Rudolph, but just before I could get to the capro and kill it, my PT died.
Bruh.
Anyways, I can't pout on that loss though. So I started placing down crop plots, but I clearly wasn't welcome in this neighborhood as I got jumped once again by another apex capro. Whoa! But when I returned, Rudolph had already killed the capro, and thankfully none of my crop plots were broken either. Moving on, I then split all my fertilizer into the crop plots and returned back to base to repair my armor once again. But now I don't have any crop seeds that I need to actually seed the crop plots, so I got on Perry to farm some.
Time to get crop seeds once again.
And once I had at least 3 of all the different seeds that I needed, I returned to the crop plots and seeded them all.
Crops are growing once again.
Anyways, back to taming. I have the elemental kibble, and I also made some apex infused trank darts. And with whatever charcoal that I had left, I also turned it into gunpowder to make more simple rifle bullets. Alright, side note here, this desert pond is really becoming an issue. I went down to just grab a quick drink of water in the middle of all this, and I instantly got caproed again.
No! Thank you, Rudolph.
But this time, Rudolph did have my back. On day 23, I made a primal preserving bin, specifically to craft cooked prime meat jerky in. And to actually make said meat jerky, you need oil, so I jumped on Rudolph and flew down to my oil pumps to see how much they produced so far. But the first pump was a massive disappointment.
6 oil. Okay. That's horrible.
After that pathetic performance from my oil pump, I didn't even bother checking on the other one. Instead, I returned back to base and made some spark powder because you do actually need it to power the preserving bin, let alone make the jerky. Now, I had to do some quick research in the form of looking at my older videos. I made a primal food cooker, but I was missing a key ingredient.
So I need fire feathers. Let's go kill a fire parrot.
Once I made my way over to the parrot, I accidentally aggroed a buffoon dodo. At first, I didn't know what it could do, so I kept my distance, and it's a good thing I did because it soon exploded, killing all the parrots around, including the fire one.
Oh. Holy.
So on to the next victim I go. A level 15 shouldn't be an issue. And yeah, after I ended its career, I got the fire feathers that I needed and then combined them into
2 of the feather mixtures. Okay. Now let's try this primal preserving bin thing.
Now, you may be asking why I went on this whole side quest getting the mixed feathers for the preserving bin, when you don't even need them to make jerky in the first place. Well, good question. If you read the description of the primal preserving bin, it says by using this feather mixture, it dehydrates food much quicker, meaning the jerky is produced at a much faster rate.
Awesome.
And as you could see, at a much faster rate. A vanilla preserving bed would take ages to make a single piece of jerky. Anyways, I took a peek into the soul terminal and I now had 4 elemental eggs, meaning I can make 2 pieces of apex kibble. Just missing some fiber. Always missing fiber. Anyways, I jumped on the theory and farmed a ton of fiber, so I'm not gonna have to farm more of it for a while. And then I made the apex kibble.
Bang, 2 apex kibble just like that.
So I looked into the creature finder and decided that apex thorny dragons would be my next tame of choice.
So I need toxic blood and apex blood.
I went out on my RG this time and I quickly spotted an apex terrorbird just below my base. So I clapped it and got a bunch of blood from it. As for toxic blood, I clapped a couple of toxic dodos and got pretty much the same amount. So I returned home where I made more apex infused narcotics, which I then turned into darts. After that, I farmed a little bit of flint and stone with my Anki for more spark powder, as I was running low on gunpowder too. A chemistry bench would be a welcome upgrade right now, but I don't feel like farming all those resources up in the moment, so the mortar and pestles gotta do for now. And while I was crafting all of those bullets and darts, my elemental parrots produced me another 4 extra eggs. So I made 2 more apex kibble before heading out on route off to go and tame a level 45 female apex thorny dragon. And I knocked out the first one and noticed another apex one right next to it, so I also sent that one to sleep.
That's 2 down.
And then I put all the other ones to sleep as well. Well, permanent sleep. Anyway, I fed the 2 snoozing ones apex kibble and I made them mine. Yeah, they're not gonna see sunlight for the rest of their lives.
Now I want a male apex thorny dragon.
So I took a quick look into the creature finder, and on day 24 I flew over to it, and I sent it to sleep, but there was some sort of celestial creature causing havoc nearby. So I really stepped on the gas and tamed it as fast as I could so I could get back to dipping to my base.
Back to base. 2 females and a male. Awesome. Speed running through these eggs. They don't know me, son.
I'm sure David Goggins will be proud of me. I did also notice a new long neck blueprint I must have gotten from killing something, so I threw it into the smithy and made one.
Bang! Let's look at the kibble tiers again. So I got apex. Next up for me is special kibble. And you need a bunch of eggs for that.
After doing some more quick research, I also noticed that I can now make fable kibble instead of special kibble. Anyway, I have 1 apex kibble left over, so I looked into the creature finder once again and marked another female apex thorny dragon. I might as well tame it just to speed up the egg production even more.
Oh, this rifle does a lot more torque.
2 shots, kibble, tame helper, and the dragon is mine. But before leaving, I clapped an apex carno for more blood, and I then returned home to see what I needed for the fable kibble.
Ooh, and I need prime meat jerky. Okay.
I started making that with whatever cooked prime meat I had before heading out to check on my oil pumps again.
They actually have oil.
Once back at base, I threw out my thorny dragons and bred them just to make sure that they will actually lay eggs, because I still wasn't seeing any being produced in the soul terminal.
Well, yeah, they lay eggs.
But since the thorny dragons were slow to produce, I made more apex kibble to tame some apex RGs instead.
And I'm also gonna make some tame helpers.
I went out to gather some stimberry seeds as I was missing those before realizing I actually have a Bronto for farming. What am I doing?
I have a Bronto, dude. Why am I... Oh, I'm so stupid.
So I then proceeded to fly out to the redwoods and throw out my Bronto, and I farmed a few seeds before returning back home and making the tame helpers. And then I marked a level 20 female apex RG and headed out to tame it.
Hey there.
1 dart, and that's the last time the RG is gonna see sunlight. I tamed it and instantly got jumped by a gang of spiders, so I sent them back into the shadow realm. And then I marked another apex RG, being a level 20 female again. So of course I knocked it out and cleared the area of any possible threats and tamed it. And lastly, I tamed 1 more female before marking a male for my last piece of kibble.
You fighting something? Oh, you are not winning that fight. Okay. Yeah, it's dead.
On to the next RG, which was also met with a similar fate.
Yeah, it's gonna die here. Okay, another one.
3rd time's the charm, right?
Hello there.
Oh my god.
Even though it wasn't looking very promising, I knocked it out in a semi-safe spot and I actually tamed this one. I returned home on day 25 to still an empty soul terminal.
Still no eggs. What's the Sigma?
While waiting for apex eggs to generate, I made some more elemental kibble because I might as well go out and tame some more parrots while I wait for my apex dinos to stop slacking on the job. So I marked a level 90 female ice parrot and I flew over to it, and with just a few shots later I sent it to slumber. And once it was up and tamed, I flew over to another level 90 female, but this one was causing a little bit of trouble.
What? How did you hit that? Ow. Ow!
But once its torpor was high, it resorted to flying above the water, which usually wouldn't be an issue, but there was a primal megalodon literally right below us. But it eventually came to its senses and decided to go back over to the beach, where I shot it and sent it to sleep. Another parrot for the collection, just like that. I then flew back to my base to put my new employees to work, and to my surprise, I actually got 3 apex eggs while I was out and about.
Finally, apex eggs.
Now I can finally get fabled kibble, and the first thing I wanted to tame was a fabled grifficorn, as they might just be the perfect flyer. They have have a lot of HP and melee damage, and they might be one of the fastest flyers to go around on. Overall, they're a really good tame to have. But once I actually looked into the creature finder, I was disappointed to see that no Grifficorns were actually on the map at this time.
What?
Apparently, I got so disappointed I began staring into my fabricator contemplating my life. Or maybe I just left to take a leak. I don't know. Regardless, once I was back, I made my first 2 pieces of Fabled Kibble.
Ooh, Fabled Kibble. I'm Hamothy.
Anyways, after a quick look into the Primal Smithy, the next thing I'm gonna need is Omega Kibble, for which I need a lot of feathers. So I got on my Rudolph and marked my first victim being a level 55 Ice Parrot. 3 right clicks later, and it's ragdolling everywhere. After glitching off the hill, it appeared back behind me halfway into the mesh. Probably the worst place for a body that you need to harvest. But since I am a pro gamer, I got off Rudolph and slowly approached the corpse, while wildly swinging my hatchet until I managed to harvest it. On to the next victim being another male Ice Parrot, also level 55. And this one also had a bunch of friends around, but every party must come to an end, so I rudely interrupted them, and after killing the Ice Parrot, I also spotted an electric one. And just as the day was coming to an end, I gave the parrots a break and returned back home. Unfortunately for these parrots, on day 26, I was still feeling violent and in need of many feathers, so my carnage continued. My new target was a low-level Fire Parrot, which got clapped instantly. And after killing just one more Fire Parrot, I moved on to Caustic ones, as those haven't been disturbed by me yet. I appreciate their patience though. A free elemental egg laid by the parrot just before I ended its life.
Ooh, elemental egg? Not if I do.
Anywho, I returned back to my base after committing that war crime, and I also made 2 Omega Kibble. Omega was the last tier of dinos that I needed to tame before I could start making Demonic and Celestial Kibble, which was the first tier of actually really powerful creatures. And once I have those, I can start taking on bosses and stuff. So moving forward, I grabbed my Bronto and traveled to the Redwood Island once again to farm berry seeds for more narcotics. And returning back to base, I made 10 more Apex infused darts and got ready for some more taming. I marked an Omega Rex and made my way over to it.
Ooh, these are gonna be hard to trank out.
And they hurt too. I took my time making sure I don't miss my shots, as I didn't have that many darts left, and these Omega creatures had a ton of torpor. But in the heat of the moment, I somehow managed to press E and got dismounted at the worst time possible.
No!
Instantly resulting in my death, of course. A rookie mistake, but an expensive loss. I rushed back as fast as I could, and by some miracle, Rudolph was actually still alive. What I was about to witness, though, blew my mind.
Bruh. What?
The giant overpowered Omega Rex just got deleted by that tiny tech raptor. So I quickly hopped off to pick up my gear and begin looking for another Omega to tame. There was a 145 Omega Rex on the same island, but it had 120,000 torpor. And I don't feel like shooting half of my trunks into that just for it to die to another tiny raptor or something. So instead I returned back to base with 0 Omegas tamed. Day 27 began with me making some more narcotics. I was running low on spoiled meat though, so I had to craft up a meat spoiler. It also runs on spark powder, but it wasn't the fastest thing in the world either. But I guess it's gonna have to do, as spoiling meat in my inventory wasn't any better. But moving on, I went out on my RG to kill some more toxic dinos for narcotics, starting with a toxic dodo. But what I was about to witness though was too much even for this mod.
What?
An Apex Dodo Rex did a whole 360 off a cliff, landing and killing everything around it? Yeah, no thanks. I turned 180 degrees and flew the other way, where I then set my sights on another dodo, or free toxic blood as I should say. And I flew through the desert while finding absolutely nothing toxic to kill. So I just parked myself back at base and used whatever toxic blood I had to make more toxic narcotics. Then I wanted to make a small upgrade to my toolset by crafting a chainsaw, for resource gathering of course.
Cementing paste and polymer.
Looks like I'm gonna be going on my taxman duty soon. Anyways, I left my base, and would you look at that, an Apex defense unit was just chilling right in front of my gates. I sent it back to the back rooms and proceeded to go on with my day. I then marked an Apex Carno, which I chased down and launched it into orbit and then killed it for its blood.
Wait, I need polymer. What am I doing with a chainsaw?
I got the order of my plan a little bit mixed up and started harassing Apex creatures for their blood, even though I was out here to get polymer and paste so I can make a chainsaw to harvest them with. So after finding and killing a mantis, I had enough polymer. So it's time to collect some tags from these hard-working beavers again.
These beavers? So damn.
And that should be all I need, so I returned back to my base and made the chainsaw. Now I can go out and kill both toxic and apex creatures, and hopefully with the chainsaw I can gather a ton of blood. Starting off with an apex dilo. Killing it was the easy part, but finding its mesh body, not so much.
Bro.
Anyways, on to the next I go. Once I arrived at its location, I realized that I wasn't dealing with no basic dilo. It was actually a skinwalker.
Brother, that is not a dilo. This is Daedon.
A level 145 Dilo turned out to be a level 20 Daedon. Also, today is the day we finally all see pigs flying.
And Dude, why does it just send it flying?
Anyways, moment of truth. I killed a pig and harvested with my chainsaw, giving me a whopping 11 blood.
Okay, that did not give as much blood as I thought. It's just hide.
So I went over to another Skinwalker, because this one was also a Daedon for some reason. Anyway, I killed it and got absolutely scammed by an Ichthy.
Bro! There's no way you just ate that body!
Alright, enough clowning around with these dinos. I wasn't getting a lot of blood anyways, so it's time to get back on the progress track again. I searched up Omega dinos once again and realized Omega Sarcos are a thing. Those would probably be much easier to tame than a Rex. So I first stopped back at my base to make some more Apex strength darts before flying over to the first Sarco. And I cleared the area of any possible threats, including this fabled Morellatops, which actually dropped a decent Primal Fab sniper.
That's crazy.
Even crazier though was how much damage the Sarco was doing to me while I was trying to knock it out. But it actually went to sleep pretty quickly, and it was a pretty straightforward tame from there. My next culprit was also found in the swamp chilling on a rock. I shot it with my long neck and then switched over to the new fabricated sniper. And I used the 2 weaker bullets I had, but they did very little torpor, so I switched back to my long neck. Also, the Sarco managed to get itself stuck somehow, so I knocked it out and started killing all the pests around so I can safely tame it. But out of nowhere, a level 130 Caustic Griffin appeared and started attacking the Sarco.
Oh my god.
I tried to kill it, but it did a ton of damage to my Rudolph, so I jumped off and trapped him midair, saving him. Death was certain here. I got knocked out from the Caustic Griffin and then eaten alive by a Capro. But respawning back in, I jumped onto another Rudolph and flew back to the swamp. But when I tried to grab the Griffin's attention, I got sent to sleep again, instantly landing in the water and getting swarmed by piranhas. Bad way to end day 27. I respawned on day 28 and made a soul trap gun as well as a Rudolph a saddle for the last Rudolph I had back at my base. And I leveled him up and rushed back to the swamp again. The soul trap gun can pick up my item caches from a distance, so my plan was just to shoot at where my corpse is, hopefully picking it up. And once I made my way over to the swamp again, I tried shooting the soul trap gun, but I was rudely informed that I didn't have any soul traps to shoot. And as if things weren't going badly enough, the Griffin found me again and absolutely destroyed me.
Oh my, why? Weird.
Yeah, I was not gonna wait for my bedtimer again. I respawned as close as I could to the swamp and tried to run over, but I got chased by a tech raptor. And of course, I got cornered and sent back to the lobby again. Anyway, once my bedtimer was up, I respawned back home and got on my RG this time. And I made sure to make a few soul traps and slowly flew back over to the swamp where one of my Rudolphs was fighting the Griffin.
Oh my god. Yeah, Rudolph is dead.
I whistled the other Rudolph to me, but once I flew back, I couldn't see the Griffin anymore.
Did it kill it? Oh my god, Rudolph killed it. He killed it before he died. What a legend.
An absolute menace. Killed the Griffin just before he died. His sacrifice will be remembered.
You will be missed, buddy.
And while chainsawing the Griffin's corpse for feathers, I got knocked out again by a toxic frog.
No! No!
I hate the swamp with every bone in my body, but I somehow managed to return my RG and whistle my Rudolph and just left. I parked up on a small cliff where I tried switching over to Rudolph, but when I jumped off the RG, I got sent off the cliff, landing right next to a fabled mantis.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can already guess what happened next. Oh yeah, the respawn screen. Starting to become more and more used to it. I respawned as close as I could and ran back to whistle my Rudolph, but guess what? My whistle was so loud, apparently I attracted every hostile creature in a 10-mile radius. And when I tried to press E to get on my Rudolph, I instead picked up a rock and got hit by toxic Phiomia, sending me to sleep.
Oh my god, what is this mod?
Spawning in the same location again, I was put right in front of my RG this time. So I whistled follow on it and ran into the water to get away from a terror bird. There, I finally mounted my RG, and I first clapped the fabled mantis and then the 2 terror birds. And finally, I whistled my Rudolph and actually got onto it this time. And I flew back to the swamp and grabbed all my stuff and left the second I could. I didn't forget my RG, don't worry, I shot it with my soul gun before returning back to base. I was never happier to be home after such a roller coaster of events. I think I died at least like 10 times there. Anyways, I fixed my flak and sorted out all the garbage in my inventory before calling it a day. It was a very eventful day, dude, that was terrible. The plan for day 29 was to go tame more Rudolphs. So I first made some more tame helpers and then headed out to find these glowy reindeers. Starting off with a level 145.
Just like one tap knock him out.
I killed the nearby threats and returned back to base to get Meho berries on Gino. And after returning, I fed it the tame helper and soon it was up. Moving on to another one, also a level 145. And it also got sent to sleep with one shot. The tame helper and some berries and he's mine. After that, I quickly checked the creature finder to see if there were any new Omega Sarcos I could tame. And there actually was a male one which I needed, so I flew over to it. And of course, it's in the swamp again, but thankfully I knocked it out with 2 darts and tamed it instantly without getting bothered.
Yes. Got it.
I zoomed back to base to throw him into the soul terminal, and I also checked out the new Rudolphs before looking into the creature finder again to spot a level 130 Fabled Grifficorn.
Ooh, a 130 Fabled Grifficorn.
I already have everything I need to tame it on me, so without hesitation I flew over to it. But once I saw its torpor stat though, I kinda started questioning whether I could actually do this.
200. Oh.
Well, I still tried. I shot it once but quickly found out that that was a mistake.
It's not bad. Oh my god, it's faster than me.
I did manage to escape, but I definitely needed better narcotics if I want to tame that.
So how about one of these Ascendant fabricated rifles?
I did have that 160 damage, but it's not gonna cut it.
Alright, so I do want to farm up one of these rifles, just because they're going to be so good at taming. Problem is, you see how expensive they are.
So the first thing I gotta do is upgrade my 2 mortar and pestles to a chemistry bench, but I was still missing a bunch of cementing paste, crystal, electronics, and polymer. So first, back to taxman duty I go with Rudolph. It looks like the beavers have recruited a bodyguard into one of their lakes though.
Oh, Celestial Spino, great.
And looking through the rivers, I didn't see any beavers, meaning no dam. So for now, I would just target Mantis for polymer, but not this one.
What? Nope, buffoon nameless. Next Mantis, please.
After killing said Mantis, I used my chainsaw to harvest its body. And now I'm actually glad I made the chainsaw, because after just one Mantis corpse, I got a bunch of polymer. Then I flew over to the desert where I spotted 2 more Mantises, and one of them was also a Fable Mantis. So after dropping both of them, I got some great loot as well, and enough polymer for the chemistry bench. And since I also got a ton of chitin in the process, I would probably just craft the cementing paste instead of lawfully take it from the tax evading beavers. Anyways, moving on to the electronics part. I spotted an Elder Defense unit, but my Rudolph special ability is to make dinos disappear, as you already know. And this one was sent right into the back rooms because I could not find his body.
What?
So I used my trusty creature finder to highlight a tech parasaur, which I then killed and chainsawed for a decent amount of electronics. And next up on the list was a tech rex, which somehow gave me less electronics than the parasaur. Not to worry though, because the next one redeemed itself by giving me a bunch more.
Alright, I think I've got everything I need for the chemistry bench.
Alright, I had everything apart from cementing paste, which I started crafting in my 2 mortar and pestles. I also crafted up a generator and picked up my Anki because I forgot to actually get the crystals, so I jumped on Rudolph to go look for some real quick. And I looked around a few mountains and hills, but after not finding anything, I returned back to the blue obelisk where I know I could get some. I returned home on day 30 to a spirit rex getting a little bit too close to my base for comfort.
Bro, that is right outside my base. Come on. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm surprised I have not been raided yet.
Anyways, I made the chemistry bench and finally upgraded from the basic mortar and pestles. And I then slapped down the generator in the quarter and placed down the chemistry bench next to the forge. And I also made a few wires and a couple of outlets, and now I have power.
Beast. Awesome.
While waiting for the paste to craft, I looked through the creature finder once again, this time to highlight fabled creatures I could kill for more loot and hopefully a better Primal Fab sniper blueprint. So I'm gonna start with a fabled Pteranodon. I dropped it to the floor, but it didn't have what I was looking for.
Nope, no fabricated rifle.
On to the next Pteranodon. Except it wasn't a Pteranodon, but a trike. These skinwalkers have really come to be quite a common occurrence. Anyways, this one dropped me some decent flat gauntlets. Killing the next fabled Pteranodon, which was under the mesh, got me a Godlieth Fab sniper blueprint, which is a rarity 1 tier above Ascendant. However, it isn't a primal sniper, so I can't actually shoot primal trank bullets.
Oh, is that a fabled Megachelon? I need to tame that too, dude. Everything is so much torpor.
Anyways, back to killing. A 150 trike was next, but it didn't drop any blueprints. But on the next trike, I actually got a primal sniper blueprint. Unfortunately, it was even worse than the one I already had.
Yeah, that one's terrible.
But I did get a slightly better long neck at least. But after killing a few more fabled trikes and some other things, I concluded that the blueprint I had would be good enough. So I returned back to my base to see what I needed to actually make one.
I need organic polymer and hard polymer? What? Sap?
So I made 4 sap taps and flew over to the Redwood Island to place them down in one of the trees. And I then farmed some stone with my Dodic and RG before getting harassed by a fire Mega Raptor. I quickly healed my RG to save it from dying and then flew back to my base.
Okay, think I'm good.
Either way, I got enough stone to make a lot more paste, and I also made a huge discovery.
Wait, no, it works as both. Oh, I can just farm up a ton of organic polymer, and I'm chilling.
So I think I should go out and slaughter a ton of mantises, as they give both polymer and chitin that I can turn into paste. And that's exactly what I did. I highlighted the mantises and got on Rudolph to go say hello. The hunt for mantis continued into day 31. After killing one of the mantises, a necrotic wyvern noticed me and nearly ended my whole career. It also chased me as I was harvesting the next mantis, and I just barely dodged it again. I was really playing with fire there. Anyways, after just killing a few more mantises, I returned back home to check on the progress with the resources. Okay, now I only needed more sap and cementing paste to make it, so I flew back over to the redwoods to check on my sap taps.
Oh wait, I need grappling hooks to get into them.
So a not so quick back and forth later, I got a peek inside one of the taps just to see the absolute disappointment of production speed these things actually had. Only 18 sap in one of them. This is gonna take a while. So I returned home and moved everything into the Primal Smithy, and then I went out to gather more stone with my Dote. And since I've already ran out of chitin, it was time to pay a visit to our mantis friends once again. My first victim had karma on its side though, because as soon as I went to harvest it, a primal raptor came out of nowhere and clapped me.
No! Oh my god.
Anyway, once I returned on another Rudolph, I waited for the raptor to skedaddle before going down to take my stuff and continue the killing. And alpha mantises weren't off the menu either, and I was about to find out that I wasn't either.
Not a... I gotta do a better job of checking surroundings before I get off Rudolph, dude.
And with 0 of my other Rudolph saddled, I had to return on my slow RG again. But I did manage to get my body and Rudolph just before something started exploding on the ground. Moving on, the next group of mantises I came across consisted of 2 buffoon mantises, not something I really want to mess with because they're super strong. So moving forward, after killing another 2 more mantises, I returned to the base and started crafting the cementing paste. And then after that, I returned to the redwood before the end of the day to check on my sap production once again, and this time it wasn't so bad. On day 32, I was still missing a little bit of pace for the snipers, so I left base once again to kill a few more mantises. Killing the first group dropped me a godly of fabricated sniper, but that's not what I'm looking for, unfortunately. And after just one more mantis, I called it wraps for the hunt.
I think this should be enough chitin. Let's go back to base.
And I turned it all into cementing paste, and once I moved it into the Primal Smithy, drumroll please.
Bruh.
If you couldn't tell by my honest and very real reaction, it wasn't enough. So back out to kill one more last mantis I go.
Finally. I need to check on my sap.
But I only had 6 sap in the tap, so I returned back to base. I already have everything else for the rifle now, so now it's just a matter of waiting for the sap to get produced. In the meantime, I wanted to craft a bunch of bullets for the rifle, starting with advanced sniper bullets, for which I would need a ton of gunpowder. So I got on my tickle chicken and flew back over to the redwoods, where I slapped a few trees for wood that I could burn in the charcoal, and then leaving all of it in the primal forge before going out with my Anki and RG to farm stone and flint for spark powder, the other essential ingredient for making gunpowder. I did get jumped by an alpha direwolf and thorny dragon, but they quickly learned what a 1.5k melee Anki tail whip feels like. Anyways, I returned back home and started making gunpowder.
This should give me a ton of gunpowder.
I then looked into the engram page to see what else I needed to make the primal bullets for the sniper, and I wasn't too happy with what I saw.
I'm gonna need more cementing paste. It costs 5 per. Ugh. I'm gonna go kill more mantises.
And there was also a surprise waiting for me at my front doorstep.
Oh my god. Demonic data on outside my base, not optimal.
What is even less optimal is the creature finder straight up lying to me and almost getting me killed.
Oh, it's a buffoon mantis, dude, it tricked me.
So instead, I specifically searched for alpha mantises to avoid getting bamboozled and clapped. And I also unplugged an alpha defense unit from life support and started harvesting it, and that made me realize I was perhaps farming paste the wrong way.
Not a bad way to farm.
Anyways, I returned back to base to another most likely friendly creature waiting out in front of my home.
What the? Celestial rock elemental. Interesting. Good thing I have a back door.
I then went back to the Redwood Island to check on my taps once more, but still nothing crazy was produced. Anyway, moving on, I just gotta keep waiting. Back at base, I made 3 canteens as I was tired of constantly being thirsty. And of course, I filled them up at my crop farm while also checking to see how many crops it had yielded. I had kind of forgotten this was here, to be honest. Anyways, I now had quite a lot of gunpowder made in the chemistry bench, so I started crafting advanced sniper bullets in the fabricator. And I also checked in on my soul terminal for the first time in a few days and saw that there were 7 omega eggs inside waiting for me. And while waiting for more sap to generate, I went out to kill more toxic creatures for blood so I can make some more toxic narcotics.
Using the RG because I think it's the best thing I have. Ooh, the Theory might harvest blood better than this, but it's definitely the most mobile thing that harvests blood.
I was already halfway towards the Redwood Island, so I took a detour to check on my taps once again, as I just needed a little bit more sap to finally make this rifle. But still, not enough sap, so back to base I go, empty-handed. And with a giant U-turn at that, I did not want to aggro that Celestial Golem. Day 33, I took my Theory out to see if my theory about gathering blood was correct, as I needed more Apex blood for Apex narcotics. So I killed an Apex Dilo, and threw the Theory out and harvested the corpse for 38 blood. Not bad at all, so on to the next Skinwalker, because once again I had a Dilo marked, but it was a couple of Apex Capros once I arrived. Anywho, back at base, I turned all that fresh blood into narcotics and went out to the Redwoods again to see how my taps were doing. But when I got there, I had to kill an Apex Fjordhawk that was in the way. And when I jumped off my Rudolph, I got ambushed by his brother.
What the? There's another one.
This time, I think I actually finally have enough sap, so I collected all of it and flew back home to see. But I was 32 pieces short, so close. In the meantime, I went out with just my theory to skin some more creatures for hide so that I could then repair my flak. I also need grapples for the next time I go over there to collect my sap. And for that, I need arrows, and for that, I was missing flint. But when I went outside to try and gather some, I was quickly chased back inside by a demonic Daedon.
Ooh!
So I left around the back on my RG to gather some up there, and then I could make arrows and finally grapples. And after that, I flew over to actually check on my taps, and finally, after many days, I had enough. I grabbed everything and returned back to base.
Finally, dude, I got everything for this rifle. Oh wait, I should make a mind wipe.
Since it took me this long to farm everything for the rifle, I wanted to get the most out of this blueprint. So I quickly looked up on how to make a mind wipe, and I got to work on making it.
I need stimulants.
I had to go on my Bronto to harvest a few bushes for stimberries and mayho berries. But once back at base, I made a cooking pot and started transferring all the ingredients. But I was still missing some rare mushrooms, so I went back out to my swamp on Rudolph, as I know I can get them there. And a single swing from my Bronto got me everything I needed, so I returned back home. I got the last few pieces of prime meat and stimberries in the very early morning of day 34. And after that, I made an industrial grill up to speed up the cooking process. And once it was done, I transferred everything into the cooking pot and made 2 mind wipe tonics.
Alright, 2 mind wipes. Finally, I can craft this thing.
I drank one of them and abused the heck out of my left mouse button until all my experience levels were in crafting skill. And finally, the moment of truth. Actually crafting the rifle got me
360? Okay, I'll take that. 37? I think that's great.
I then drank the second mind wipe and set my stats back to normal and crafted however many bullets I could. And with this new fresh rifle, I can now finally try and tame the fabled Grifficorn, which I've wanted for the longest time now.
Alright, finally, dude, let's try and tame a Grifficorn.
So I highlighted a level 145 and flew over to it and started shooting at it. And of course, I was not disappointed with the torpor damage.
Oh yeah, these are much better.
And after just a few more shots, it went to sleep midair and thankfully landed in a safe spot, and I fed it and named it
Cotton candy. I don't know.
Back at base, I made another fabled kibble because I want to tame a second Grifficorn just in case something happens to this one. I don't think you can breed them, maybe you can. Anyways, I still want to tame a new one just in case I lose this one. So I flew over to the level 130 male that I had marked, but once I got close, it disappeared.
Oh, where'd it go?
It did teleport, and it also lied. It was a level 95. So I returned back to base to grab XP potions for my current Grifficorn. And I leveled up the health a little bit and put the rest in the melee. And now every time I did a diving attack, I was hitting like a semi-truck.
Oh yeah, we're upgrading melee in this.
Alright, now that I can put out some serious damage numbers, I think it's about time that I start killing Primo Dinos for blood, as you can make even stronger narcotics and tranks from that. And first off, I tried to kill a level 140 Primal Carno, but it had quite a lot of health, so instead I marked a Primal Raptor. I then flew over to it, but stopped attacking it after I noticed it started beef with a demonic monkey.
Yeah, demonics are just crazy, dude.
Yeah, that guy stood no chance against the monkey. I watched it to see it get deleted, and it's a good thing it did because somehow I got all the loot from the raptor after it died. And once the fire was gone, I swooped in and got all the primal blood as well. And I then flew back to my base where another friendly bird was getting comfortable near my home.
Hey, you're getting a little close to my base, buddy. You know how much damage I'll be putting out nowadays? Yep, you're dead.
Alright, back home, I looked into making demonic kibble, and the only thing I was missing were some fabled eggs, so I had to look in the creature finder to see my options.
Yeah, I'm taming pteranodons.
So I made 4 fabled kibble and highlighted a level 20 female fabled PT that got sent to sleep with a single shot to the noggin. That's 1 female down, on to the next one. And the next one was another level 20 female, mine, shortly followed by a level 25 and what appeared to be a level 20 female but was actually a 45 male. Not what I expected, but what I needed. So that was 1 male and 3 females tamed. I was then flying over to another 20 female, but it was actually a 50 male, so I flatlined it. Anyways, on to an actual female now. Oh, and I did also accidentally eat a tame helper myself, but the PT got one as well, and that's female number 4.
Okay, I've got like 4 female fabled pteranodons and then 1 male, so fabled egg production should really go quickly here.
Day 35 began with me making my first few primal narcotics until I ran out of toxic ones again, meaning I gotta go kill more toxic creatures for their blood. But with this new griffin, it should be a walk in the park, so I highlighted a toxic parasaur and glided over.
Yes.
Next, I killed a toxic Fiume because they're fat and annoying and they give a lot of blood. After that, I killed a few more toxic creatures that got highlighted by the creature finder and then returned back to base to finally make the more narcotics. First the toxic ones, then all the primal ones, then I also turned them into bullets. But once again, I'm out of pace because I spent literally everything on this rifle. So I flew out to the desert where I saw the 2 buffoon mantises chilling in one spot. I swooped both of them with my griffin and harvested them, and I actually got more resources than I would have gotten using the chainsaw. So then I returned back home home and made even more primal infused strength bullets. Moving on, I then looked into the soul terminal to find my first fabled egg. I still needed 4 more for my first demonic kibble, so for the time being, I went out on cotton candy to farm more feathers. But I did pause the parrot killing spree when I came across this.
Oh, I need to tame that.
Considering that I had a powerful sniper and trank snout, I felt confident that I could knock it out. So I shot it until it got laid out on the beach. And then I returned back to base to make 2 more fabled kibble for it. But when I came back to feed it with the tame helper, it wasn't working for some reason.
I bet when I went out of render, I broke it. Because that's how Ark works.
Coming back into render distance, I was still getting messed with by some fjordhawks, so I first put them back in their place and then tried to feed it the tame helper again. But it wasn't working. What a surprise.
It's broken, dude. So I'm just gonna, I think I just gotta force tame it.
I force fed a kibble and then force tamed it. I don't like using commands in my playthroughs, but when Ark just keeps glitching out like this, I've got no other choice. Anyways, moving on, I returned back to base and my soul terminal now had 4 fabled eggs, meaning I was just 1 away from getting my first demonic kibble.
Yes.
And after waiting around a little bit, I finally made the first kibble, but after flying out and looking at the demonic thorny dragon, I realized that I need 2 demonic kibble to tame this.
Oh, it needs 2 demonic kibble, no.
Well, I was running low on primal infused trank bullets, so I looked through my creature finder to find and kill some more primal dinos for their blood.
Oh, that primal raptor is about to fight the celestial theory.
And once the raptor was done messing around with the theory, I started swiping it. And back and forth, diving into the raptor continued all the way through the night and into the morning of day 36.
Finally, only 29 blood?
That took way too long. I really need to get that demonic thorny dragon as soon as possible. So I returned back to my base and started organizing my stuff. And I also got these 2 really good chainsaws from killing that primal raptor.
Ooh, crazy chainsaws.
But during that entire fight, only 1 fabled egg was produced in the soul terminal. But there's not much I can do about it, so I waited around to see if 4 eggs would magically appear. And then while looking into the saddle for the thorny dragon, I realized that I actually need to kill demonic dinos to make the saddle for it.
I guess I'm just gonna kill some demonics in the meantime, trying to get up a demonic thorny dragon saddle.
So I marked a low-level demonic parasaur on the map and flew over to it. And I've got to be really careful to not let it attack back because it can most likely one-shot me off the back of my Grifficorn. But after a few swipes, it died without getting aggroed, and I got a ton of hide from it, so I returned home. And after a quick look into the soul terminal to see that I once again had 4 fabled eggs.
One more egg, okay.
Just 1 more before I could finally tame that thorny dragon. I also crafted the saddle and patiently waited inside the soul terminal's inventory for the final egg to be produced.
Oh, yes, bang, egg.
And I then made the second demonic kibble and didn't waste any time before going out for that demonic thorny dragon. It had above 1 million torpor, but shooting its head with a single bullet dealt around 100,000 torpor. So I took my time flying around and tried to shoot at its head primarily. And once it started torpor running, it got stuck on something, making it super easy to knock out. And right after feeding a kibble and tame helper, I got attacked by a stupid saber out of nowhere.
No! Did it hit it? I don't know.
But at last, at the end of day 36, I had a demonic dinosaur.
I have now achieved power.
So on day 37, I immediately took it out for a killing run. My first test subject would be this demonic Daedon that used to be a threat.
Oh my god, this world's cooked.
Quite literally. Reaper Queen, not even a budge. Buffoon Ferox, evaporated.
Ooh, Spirit Dino.
It was the Spirit Rex chilling a little bit too close on my base, but even that was an easy kill with this thing. I then destroyed a demonic Capro and the Celestial Rock Elemental that was in front of my base for a while now. And I think it's said that the tides have turned for me now since I can basically kill anything from this point onwards. Alright, looking around inside my base with all these new tames, I think I'm running a little low on real estate as this new demonic thorny dragon is kinda huge.
I'm gonna expand the base because I've got a big base, but even just look at the demonic thorny dragon. It takes up like half of this.
So I first farmed up a ton of stone with a Dodic, and then I went out to the Redwood Island with my Theory and got a ton of wood and thatch. And once I arrived back home, I began the long process of crafting foundations once again. I made 125 foundations, and when they finished crafting, I started by expanding the front of my Behemoth Gate all the way to the Dino Gate. After placing them all down, I was a few off, so I quickly started crafting the remaining pieces and completed the floor.
You're gonna need to craft some pillars and a buttload of ceilings because I'm still extending this that way.
I started day 38 off with a quick trip to the Redwood Island with my Rudolph to get some more thatch as I was running low. And back at base, I started crafting 150 stone ceilings. And after standing still for like 10 minutes, all the ceilings were finally done being crafted, and I moved on to crafting 100 pillars. And once all that was done, I moved cotton candy outside to hold all the structures while I continued building.
Oh, what? Why are these pillars midgets? What did I just craft?
Anyways, I finished the platform expansion using the midget pillars, and then I started filling it all in to see where I would need more foundation support. And soon enough, the whole floor was completed and expanded. And looking at it from above, I wanted to push it out to the side a little bit more just to have some more space, because it can't ever hurt. And I do also have a bunch of structures left over. And by a bunch, I mean literally the perfect amount I would need to finish this whole thing.
Oh my god, perfect amount of ceilings.
Well, time to see how big this base in comparison is to my biggest tame I currently have.
Where did I put the Megachelon?
Throwing the fat turtle out on the platform basically covered the whole thing.
Alright, I'd like to fit it up here.
But then I realized I can just stuff it inside my soul terminal and passively generate rare flowers and rare mushrooms. And that means I don't need to have it out in my base. And with that being said, I can continue structuring on my giant estate. I wanted to make this section super tall, so I started crafting extra large walls again before the end of the day. And on day 39, I started off by walling off the right side. I made it 2 extra large walls high to break up the cube shape in the whole thing, and I just wanted more space, I guess. Anyways, I went out to farm more stone as all these structures were really biting into my supply of it. And then I returned to craft more walls and continue placing them. That's kind of how building goes usually. Anyway, once I was at the behemoth gate, I couldn't snap the walls anymore, so I picked it up and moved it to the front of the platform.
Why can't I figure out how to evenly place this gate, dude?
And after a little bit of fiddling around, I got it down and moved on to finishing the walls. And soon the whole thing was surrounded, so I returned inside to make the ceilings. These ones I placed above the behemoth gate so I could place walls on top of it to make the whole thing taller. And I also picked up some of the previous walls I originally placed down before returning and crafting even more walls. And I also checked in on my soul terminal to make sure my fabled Megachelon was producing rare flowers and rare mushrooms as it should.
Yes. Rare flowers and rare mushrooms. Oh, and these awesome seeds. Let's go.
Now it's time to get back to work on top of the base. I made a few ceilings to fill in the spot where my behemoth gate used to be before the end of the day. Day 40 and I was feeling a little bit more violent than usual.
Alright, I want to take a little break from building. I want to kill some origins because I need them to summon these guys.
And those guys are used to summon the next set of bosses, which are then used to summon the following set, and then so on all the way up to Peacon's Revenge. And that is a lot of stuff I gotta kill, and a lot of grinding still ahead of me, so I think it's about time I start working on that. But before that, I gotta name my Thorny Dragon.
Fire Lizard. Okay, horrible name.
But anyways, I took my Griffin along with Fire Lizard to go and decrease the origin population of this arc. Starting off with a level 140 Origin Raptor.
Yeah, it's getting melted.
And from the Raptor, I got my first 2 pieces of actually decent armor from this mod, the Origin Leggings and Boots. These armor pieces do not have a durability stat, meaning they can't be broken or otherwise destroyed. The only stat that matters on them is the armor stat. And one more essential item I got from this Origin is Origin Blood, which can be used to make Origin Tranks, but more on those later on. Anyway, an Origin Spino then appeared very close to that Raptor I just killed, so I started blasting its face full of fire.
Ooh, I need to kill this thing kinda quicker.
And the Spino actually donated the next piece of Origin armor, being the helmet. And I then killed 2 Indominus Rexes that were terrorizing this area before running back to base.
It looks like I should have finished the ramp because I can't get into my base.
Anyways, back to the Origin Blood I was talking about. With this, I can make an Origin infused narcotic. And using that, I can turn a Primal Arrow into an Origin Trank Arrow, which can knock out basically any creature in one shot. The way it works is you shoot the creature that you want to tame, and it fills up the torpor bar in about a span of 30 seconds. But while it's getting tranked, it also does double melee damage and double movement speed for the entire duration before falling asleep. So basically, you kind of just want to shoot it and dip out of there as fast as you can. But anyways, to actually shoot the arrow, I need to make a primal compound bow. I already had a bunch of bows, but none of them were the primal ones that I needed.
Oh, so these are primal ones. Ooh, these are expensive.
And since it literally doesn't matter how strong the bow is, I just made a primitive one to save some resources. And moving on, I threw out my Thorny Dragon again to heal it before heading out to kill more Origins. Next up on my Origin elimination list was an RG, one I found with the Creature Finder. So I powered up, killed a Primal Aloe that was nearby, and then started shooting at the RG like I was some sort of anti-aircraft. And once one of my SAM missiles connected to the RG, it started flying towards me right into all the flames. And the RG dropped another Origin helmet, but not a better one than I already had. And I'm still moving forward. This time I flew over to an Origin Dire Bear.
Oh, it's already angry at me. Ew.
It was actually kind of dogging on me a little bit, but nothing my lizard couldn't handle, so the bear soon dropped dead. And once again, I just got a helmet and some leggings, both of which I already have. Moving on, it's now time for an Origin Karakou that wasn't too far away, and I made quick work of it and its entire family of penguins. And next up is a Carno, and this one was hiding on the Redwood Island. And this one actually dropped me Origin Gauntlets, making the last piece I need a chest piece. But I did return back to base where I healed up my Thorny Dragon and looked into the Primal Smithy to see which Origin dinos I had yet to kill to be able to spawn the demonic Reaper Queen, the first like big boss in this mod, I guess.
Need a Rex and a Wyvern tribute. Just need Omega Blood and artifacts.
So I flew over to the top of the snowy mountain where I knew one artifact spawned. It was being guarded by a weird bionic Giga that actually looked like a formidable opponent, but it got one tap with my Griffin. This thing is just too overpowered. Anyways, I returned back to my base to do a little bit of research, specifically where artifacts spawn on this map because I have no idea. But after the research, I flew over to one of the locations and snagged an artifact right in front of a demonic Hyenodon.
I'm gonna take this artifact.
And I then flew over to an Omega Fire Wyvern I highlighted with the creature finder. And of course, I clapped it for the blood and returned back to the snowy mountains to take another artifact. And yes, the Giga was also there, but it was just as useless as before.
Why you bullying me?
Day 41 began with me crafting the Origin Rex and Wyvern spawners. Regardless, I flew over to the desert and spawned the Rex first, and it got dropped with ease.
Now, let's try the Wyvern.
But because the Wyvern just keeps flying around you while constantly flaming you, I kept shooting the floor so it would just fly in and then take damage. But then I ran out of stamina because of this debuff from the Wyvern, and I also couldn't regenerate for 30 seconds. So I went off a cliff and the Wyvern somehow got stuck between a tree and some rocks. And that allowed the debuff to wear off, and I regained stamina and blasted the Wyvern, freeing it in the process.
Why is it running?
But I activated air defense mode and sniped it right out of the sky, and it aggroed right back to me into its own grave. That took a little longer than I expected, and it also did a lot of damage to my Thorny Dragon. Anywho, I returned back to base and crafted the Demonic Reaper Empress spawner, and I also made a few healing potions just to be safe.
I think I should be fine. I think I should mop the floor with it.
I first healed my Thorny Dragon up to full health using the cheap stews, then went out to the desert where I consumed the summoner. And there she is, the Reaper Empress.
Oh! Okay. I miscalculated. Misinput.
There's a misinput!
Very quickly I realized I'm not gonna mop the floor with this thing. Instead, I was the one getting wrecked. So I started running for my dear life until I thought I was safe, and then I put my dragon away and got on my Griffin.
Okay, I'm gonna start cheesing this.
I then perched up on a little hill where I had seen the Reaper for the last time.
Where'd it go? Did it just despawn?
And I then turned on big brain mode. I used the creature finder to locate the Empress again and then threw out my lizard on the closest hill. I wanted to aggro the Reaper closer so I could shoot it from afar, but it kept digging in the ground.
Hit it from out here? Yes.
It somehow got stuck in the river behind the tiny hill, so I took the opportunity to rain fire on it.
Where's my Grifficorn?
Yeah, my Griffin disappeared into Narnia, and while I was looking for it, the Reaper snuck up to me, putting itself into an even better spot for me to kill. And it died pretty quickly, dropping me some new dripped out leggings and a tameable version of itself. And now with the Reaper dead, I ran around looking for cotton candy. It wasn't dead according to Triblogs, but I couldn't find it anywhere, so I had to return back to my base and use grapples to get in. And once inside, I got on Rudolph and looked for it everywhere, but despite of that, I can't find it.
I don't understand where my Grifficorn is.
On day 42, I looked through the creature finder, and after putting its name into the search bar, I actually found it.
Oh, I can track it.
I brought it back to base and looked through the Primal Smithy to see what other bosses I could kill.
Alright, well now that I killed the Demonic Reaper Empress, gotta farm up for the Celestial Indom Emperor.
So back to eradicating the Origin Donos I went, starting off with an Origin RG not too far away from the base.
Awesome, that's the RG down.
Followed by a Dire Bear, which also got dropped rather quickly.
And there goes the Dire Bear.
Next on the agenda was an Origin Raptor. These are an absolute joke to kill as they don't even knock you back and they're tiny. And I then also dropped an Origin Carno and a Karaku, which dropped me the last piece of Origin armor I needed, being the chest piece of course. And then I returned back home and crafted an Origin Rex spawner using my last artifact. So I flew back over to the snowy mountain once again, clapped the Giga, and grabbed the artifact. And I also actually did fly over to the other location and picked up the second artifact as well. I might as well get two while I'm just out here. Anyways, with those, I made the Wyvern and Spino spawners and some health potions. Then I looked into the creature finder to highlight another high level demonic Thorny Dragon, as when I fought the Wyvern last time, it caused a lot of trouble. And I think getting a May boosted pair of Thorny Dragons would just be more powerful, and I should be able to take down the Wyvern with ease. While I was tranking out one I found though, a Primal Carno started beef with it.
Oh no! Kill it! Use your tail attack!
It was a very intense fight, but in the end, the Thorny Dragon clapped the Carno and I could continue sending it to sleep. Or that was the plan before I got arced at least.
What? I wasn't anywhere close to it. Oh, and there's my Grifficorn just gone.
At least I still had some Rudolphs. They weren't as cool, but I guess that would do for now. Once it was out, a random little Hyenodon started biting it. Lil Bro thought he was gonna do something.
No! Come on, tame.
Anyways, I now have two demonic Thorny Dragons. It cost me my Griffin, but whatever, I guess. I can always tame more. Anyway, I made a saddle for it and took them both out to a nearby hill on the desert. And I then returned back to base to grab XP potions to level up the new dragon. And I leveled up the health to be similar to this one, and I gave it a little bit more stamina and the rest in the melee, of course. There was a Spirit Thyla causing some trouble, so I sent some Heat Seekers over to it to just get it out of the way.
Oh, it's already dead.
Anyways, I summoned in the Rex first, but I wasn't seeing any big difference in damage.
Is Is it doing boosted damage? It should be because it's mate boosted, right?
So I dropped the Rex, but I realized I wasn't even powered up yet, and that's why the damage numbers were so much lower. But once I spawned the Spino in and got powered up, I really got to see the effect of mate boost.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Awesome.
And lastly, the Wyvern. I powered up both of my Thorny Dragons and summoned it in on day 43, and my tactics seem to have been working well.
Yeah, we're cooking it this time.
Without a sweat, the Wyvern fell down to the floor, and that's all the tributes for the Indominus Emperor collected, so I returned back up to base and crafted the spawner.
The Emperor. I remember he does something. He's really strong. He summons stuff.
And now the plan remains the same. Use both Thorny Dragons to get mate boost, and I returned back to the same cliff and threw out both of my demonics before summoning the Indom and giving him a taste of my flames right off the bat.
Oh, he takes reduced damage.
I forgot to power up though, and I got dismounted. I did manage to get back on just to get dismounted once more before getting clapped.
Oh my god.
Anyway, back in base, I quickly made another Rudolph saddle and flew back to the fight. My body was not in a safe spot at all, and I couldn't get it at the moment, so I had to commit and kill the Indom before grabbing it. Thankfully, once I powered up, I absolutely shredded through it, and it died in a matter of seconds. And since my bag was on a cliff, I returned back to base to craft a soul gun just so I could shoot my bag and retrieve all of my stuff, including the Thorny Dragons.
That was an interesting turn of events, I guess.
And now I have both tameable versions of the first two bosses. So I made 4 more Origin Narcotics and then turned those into arrows. And I also crafted 2 Demonic Kibble for the Demonic Reaper Empress, but I was still missing Feywood Eggs to make the 2 Celestial Kibbles for the Indom. But I did cook up some more Prime Meat in the Girl before heading out to summon the tameable Empress. And once it was in, I pulled my bow back, waited for a clear shot, and sent it.
I missed. These are expensive misses, dude.
Don't worry, the second arrow connected, and now I just gotta wait 30 seconds for the torpor to fill up.
Oh, is he gonna go to sleep? Yes.
Just like that, I now possess a boss, but somehow it struggles to kill a vanilla Reaper Queen, so of course I leveled it up. And I also powered it up, but my Thorny Dragons were just way stronger. It wasn't bad at all, but it wasn't very good either, so for now I just left it inside of my base. And speaking of my base, I think it's about time that I finally finish it, but not before checking the creature finder for a new Grifficorn.
Ah, yeah, there's a 135.
So I highlighted it, flew over to it, and shot it with one of the Origin arrows. And after running in circles for about 30 seconds, it was out and then it was mine.
Dude, this one looks sick. It's just like all blue.
Moving towards the end of the day, I flew back home to feed it the max XP potion. I then leveled it up and healed it up, and I can now continue the construction of my great abode. So day 44 starts off with a short stone run farming session with my Dodig. And I then flew out my Griffin to go to the Redwood Island, but I spotted an Apex Dragon fly near my personal airspace, so I handled it accordingly. And now I could return to the original task at hand, gathering wood with my Theory. And after a few short left clicks, I had more than enough wood, so I returned back home and started crafting more walls. And with said walls, I finished surrounding the whole base, and I was now finally onto ceilings. So I farmed a little bit of stone before crafting 60 ceilings, which I then placed down. But I actually ran out of thatch by this point, so I made a quick trip back to the Redwood Island with Rudolph to gather some, and I started crafting another 160 ceilings just before the end of the day. Once they were all finished crafting on day 45, I covered most of the base with them. And one more quick little wood farm later, I crafted the remaining ceilings and placed them down to completely seal up my base. And I didn't forget to craft ramps either to make the entrance to my base actually possible with land dinos. And I did have to use stone foundations beneath the ramps to act as foundation support. And gonna be honest, it wasn't the prettiest thing, but as long as it worked, I was a-okay with it.
Awesome. Big ramp into the base. Finally, that's a base expansion done.
Alright, looking into the Primal Smithy to see the next tier bosses, the Spirit and Chaos Guardians. Their summoners were pretty expensive to get, so I needed both Celestial and Demonic Souls and some feathers and more Primal Blood. So I emptied my Grifficorn's inventory and headed out to start farming. I started off with a low-level Demonic Thorny Dragon, and thank you for donating your soul. I promise it's for a good cause. And I then looked into the creature finder to see what the most common Celestial Dino was, and I think the choice was obvious.
Alright, let's just start farming Celestial Argies, I guess.
I swooped in and dragged my Griffin's claws through the RG, but quickly realized that I needed to change my plans.
Oh my god.
So I stored my Griffin away to safety and threw out Fire Lizard to finish the job.
I am so thankful my Grifficorn did not die.
It survived by the miracle of every Ark god, and looking at its health in the Soul Trap, it was left on life support.
Holy.
So with that in mind, I continued my journey on my Thorny Dragon, and an Origin Dire Bear really wanted the smoke, so I delivered just that. And once I arrived at the next supposed Celestial RG's location, I was met with another Skinwalker.
That is not an RG.
But it's also Celestial, so I force-fed it some explosives and got the soul anyway. And right next to it was an Aloe as well. And I finished day 45 off by obliterating one more Celestial RG. Day 46 started off with a Celestial Dire Bear being sent to the afterlife. And I then got back on my Griffin, and I healed it up and and then killed a celestial baryonyx before returning back home and seeing the progress with the spirit guardian summoner. I still needed more demonic and celestial souls, as well as the primal blood and feathers, and also 2 artifacts. So I first flew out to a mountain looking for a celestial dire bear, but it seemed to be deep under the mesh, so I marked an RG instead and flew over to the snow to kill it. And the next RG turned itself into a Spino, and I waited for its attack that could potentially obliterate my griffin to an end, and then dived in twice for its soul. And I killed a few more celestials before getting on my thorny dragon again to deal with a demonic Daedon. Demonic dinos are pretty much stronger than celestial ones, and they're harder to kill, so I'm not gonna risk fighting those with my Grifficorn. But a low level celestial RG, don't mind if I do. Even though it almost killed me, I still got its soul. With the next RG, however, let's just say I didn't have the same luck twice. After diving it once, it was very low, and I tried to kill it using the weak swipe attack, resulting in my death. So back at base, I jumped on Rudolph and flew back over to where my Grifficorn was still fighting the RG. And once the RG was dead, I grabbed all my stuff, healed up the Grifficorn, and looked up demonic dinos on the creature finder, specifically demonic parasaurs, as they're pretty easy to kill, and I killed a lot of them throughout the rest of day 46. And on day 47, I returned back to base because I was pretty sure I already had enough souls for the first guardian. But on my way back, I did kill an Omega Rex for a little bit of Omega blood.
Oh yeah, so I got enough souls, I just need artifacts, primal blood, and a few ice feathers.
Starting things off by ending a fire Mega Raptor while on my way to an ice parrot. And once there, I came across a monkey boss that looked dangerous, but I could probably kill it with my demonic thorny dragon. I got rid of the ice parrot and then threw out my thorny dragon.
Oh my god, it's getting melted.
I then killed all the monkey's minions and shoved the lizard back into my pockets. Oh, and that's the primal blood I needed, so I checked that off the list as well. I then flew out to the first artifact located on one of the isolated islands, and after that to the one on the very top of the snowy mountain, always guarded by a useless Tech Giga. And finally, returning back to base, I now had everything I need to start the next boss fight.
Awesome. Alright, I'm gonna fight the Chaos one first. And basically, you know, I want to cheese.
By cheesing it, I mean finding a cave I can snuggle up in with my thorny dragon, while the giant Chaos Guardian will be stuck outside not being able to get me inside of my hidey hole. So after flying around for a little bit, I came across this entrance inside the snowy mountain that holds one of the artifacts.
Ooh, this looks like where I will be fighting the Chaos Guardian.
So I threw out my thorny dragon and cleared the area of any irrelevant creatures and entered the cave. And I also threw out my other thorny dragon for a mate boost, so hopefully it kills it a lot faster. I do remember fighting these like over a year ago in my past video, and I remember that they have a ton of health. Anyways, I set it on passive behind a wall to keep it safe.
Now, I'm just gonna fly out here real quick. Now, summon the Guardian just like that. Fly into the cave and hope I'm chilling.
Well, everything was going according to plan. By everything, I mean I still wasn't dead, but other than that, yeah, the Guardian just kind of ignored my existence and then left. So I went outside once again to look for it, and I did see its minions chasing me, but once I flew up to the mountain, I spotted it.
Oh my god, there it is.
And once I got its attention, my plan worked flawlessly. It was trying to get me stuck inside the entrance while I kept force feeding it fire and explosions. And if you take a peek at its health stat, you can probably see why I'm cheesing this boss fight. There's absolutely no way in hell I'd be able to put out 935 million points of damage before getting myself killed. And speaking of that,
Oh!
no. Oh, what? Why did it just pull that attack out of nowhere? That's game for one of my thorny dragons, proving my point that this fight would have been impossible without cheesing it. And to my absolute horror, when I returned back, the Chaos Guardian was somehow inside the cave, killing my other thorny dragon in the process.
How did you get in?
Well, I got its attention, but it's now stuck inside the cave with my thorny dragon. I did try to leave and come back to see if that would somehow fix it or mesh it out of the cave, but to no avail.
What if I get close?
So with absolutely no idea what to do, I returned back home and made an awesome spyglass and got a soul gun and picked up my Reaper Empress. On day 48, I returned back to the cave and grabbed the Guardian's attention once again.
Alright, this is terrifying.
And I then threw out my Reaper Empress. This thing really isn't that good, but I'm using it as a last resort right now. So anyway, I got up on her and powered her up and started blasting the entrance while out of sight of the Guardian. And I was only doing around 10k damage per tick, so there's no way I'm gonna kill this in time before my stuff despawns. And to make things even worse, my other thorny dragon that was trapped inside the cave died.
Oh no.
The way things were going, it looked like I would never see my stuff again. That includes my super strong rifle, my Grifficorn, and all the armor I had.
Dude, this is taking way too long. I'm gonna try and tame another demonic thorny dragon.
So I returned home and grabbed a new kit and made more narcotics, which I turned into primal trank bullets, and I also made a saddle and went out to the desert where I last saw one. It was actually a level 140, but after shooting it I realized just how bad this weaker rifle actually was. But I didn't have any other option right now, so I gotta commit to it. So I chased the tail wagging dragon down until it was finally sent to sleep.
Yes.
And then I fed it the good old tame helper and kibble combo. After taming it, I ran back to base for XP potions and then flew back out to the mountain again, and the guardian was still inside the cave waiting for me. So I leveled up the thorny dragon right there and powered it up and continued shooting at the chaos guardian. The damage without mate boost wasn't great, but it was much better than the Reaper Empress. And after a while of sitting and pressing one button, the chaos guardian finally fell to his demise, along with him.
Yes. What? No!
Yeah, that's another thorny dragon down at this point, but I don't care. The boss was dead and I could grab my gear.
What did I get from killing that emperor thing?
Killing that boss made me unlock the Chaos Orb crafting recipe, which I need in order to summon the next tier of bosses, as well as to tame chaos creatures. On day 49, I needed to get back to taming as I just lost 3 demonic dinos to 1 boss.
And I'm missing ice feathers. Shoot.
For now, I grabbed the 2 kibble that I had and flew over to a level 145 demonic thorny dragon.
Oh, male and female right here. Buddy, you are not winning that fight.
Told you. Anyways, I got the 145's attention first and knocked it out, and I tamed it and looked for an ice parrot to kill for feathers so that I can make more kibble. And while on my way over to it, I laid my eyes on possibly the best tame I could ever ask for.
Is that a chaos griffin? What? I didn't know those were a thing.
Anyways, I gotta stay focused. Once I attacked the ice parrot, I got frozen instantly, and to make matters even worse, there was a brood mother waiting for me.
But you have to unfreeze.
So I flew back to base where I threw out my new thorny dragon, and I gave it an XP potion and leveled up before naming it Hell Lizard, the successor of Fire Lizard, I guess. Anyway, with 2 new kibble made, I flew back out to the desert to knock the other thorny dragon out as well. And 1 tame helper later and a couple of kibble, the new thorny dragons were ready to take on more bosses, and hopefully not die in the process like the last ones.
In the meantime, I'm gonna kill Artifact of the Ascended because I'm just gonna need a bunch of artifacts going forward.
And this spawner calls for blood, feathers, and souls, so back to killing I go. Starting off with the light parrots, as those drop all types of feathers at once. And I killed 2 before returning back to base to see what else I was missing.
Mega Blood, Primal Blood, Apex Blood, and Fable Blood.
Basically the whole roster. So first I checked off Omega Blood by killing an Omega Aloe. Another Aloe was spotted together with the Primal one, so I threw out my Thorny Dragon and knocked 2 birds out with 1 stone. Except, I didn't knock him out, I killed him. Anyway, I then flew over to the swamp to kill another Omega Aloe, which turned out to be a Sarco. Not a big difference as they both drop the same blood, so I'm not complaining. And while I was there, I also killed a Fabled Paracer. And the next supposed Omega Aloe was an Omega Poison Wyvern, but it didn't stand much of a chance either. Finally, I gotta move on to killing primal creatures.
Primal Carno, that's the strat. What is this? I'm yet to explore this island.
The island of Mesh Carnos apparently, so I moved on to the next one. Day 50, I first destroyed a Celestial RG before killing the Primal Carno and then a Demonic Thorny Dragon. And then after that, I flew back to base to see what else I was missing.
Fabled Apex.
A Primal Aloe had spawned in the desert pretty close, so I gave him a warm welcome before hunting down an Apex Thorny Dragon. And the next target were Fabled Dinos, so starting off, I killed another Fabled Paracer, and I also killed a Light Archaeopteryx and an Electric Griffin for their feathers. I also then used a chainsaw on the Fabled corpse, and I got a pretty decent amount of blood from it.
Oh my god.
Next, I ran through a group of Brontos, also giving me a bunch of blood. And oh, the Brackies weren't safe from me either. I then highlighted an Apex Broodmother that might give me a ton of blood when I harvest it.
Oh my god, 6 million health.
6 million all the way down to 0 in just a few seconds, and just as I hoped, it dropped a ton of blood. Then I returned back to my base to once again see what I was missing.
3 Celestial Souls, 2 Demonic, and 8 Primal.
So I flew back out to kill a Spino, however it seemed to be, well, underground.
Dude, is there a cave down there?
I did try using K mode to see, but other than the small pocket right here, I didn't find anything else. Anyways, back to killing. I can't get distracted. I marked a Celestial Rex this time, and it was very much not underground. It made its presence known as soon as I arrived, but that did not stop it from dying to 1 shot from my Thorny Dragon though. Next up, I sent another Celestial RG to the Shadow Realm, shortly followed by another one. Alright, now that's the Celestial Souls done, now onto 2 Demonic Souls, both of which were from Demonic Hyenodons found on one of the mountains. The second one tried resisting by hiding underneath me, but it didn't help for too long. And on my way back to base, I kept hearing explosions even though I wasn't near anything.
What is blowing up? Dude, I'm so far from anything. I think it's just glitched.
So after a quick relog, my game did not sound like World War II anymore, so I could go about my day. The last ingredient I need for Artifact of the Ascended are Primal Souls, and I first tried killing a Primal Tech Parasaur, but that obviously didn't give me any. So then I moved on to Primal Carnos and Raptors. Came across 2 Primal Carnos right next to each other.
Oh, there's 2 of them. Awesome.
A true blessing from the Lord himself. The next 2 Carnos I flew over to were both under the mesh or in some cave I don't know of. So I marked one of the 2 Primal Raptors on the map and then flew over to kill it. It tried to run for its dear life, but it was too late. The other Raptor was inside the cave, which I finally figured out how to get inside of.
Bro, I don't know how to get into this stupid cave. Oh.
So I threw my Thorny Dragon out and powered it up and ran straight through all the nodes, but inside was just another disappointment waiting to be discovered.
What? What? Is there really not? How do you get back there?
So I looked around the mountain for a little bit to see if I could find any other entrances, but I eventually just gave up and went to look for a different Primal Dino. And while flying over, I spotted a Carno out in the wild, so I took a quick detour to snatch its soul. And then I had to relog because once again something was exploding just non-stop in my ear and nothing was around, and it was becoming unbearable. Anyway, once back, I made quick work of a Primal Megalodon, then died too. I don't know how, probably just air at this point.
What? What did I just die from?
Well, I returned on Rudolph, but my Grifficorn was nowhere to be found. Even the creature finder wasn't showing where it was.
What? Where's my Grifficorn?
So I relogged, but still no Grifficorn in sight.
Why did my Grifficorn just fall off the face of the earth, dude?
I love just losing tames to Ark stupidity. Anyways, nothing I can do. Back at base, I tried crafting the artifact with the Ascended Summoner just to realize I need to kill the Spirit Guardian in order to unlock the Summoner for Artifacto.
Why can't I unlock this? Bro, this is making me... Why can't I unlock this? To use commands to unlock this stupid engram.
Alright, right here you might be like, hold up, wait a minute. Grant, did we just watch you blatantly cheat? And the answer to that would be yes. You see, there was a few days between when I recorded killing the Chaos Guardian and now. For some reason, I had the biggest cosmetical gargantuan brain fart of all time. You see, I was looking at the Spirit Orb engram, not realizing that I had to kill the Spirit Guardian to unlock it. The engram didn't mention that I had to kill the Spirit Guardian for the orb to be unlocked, and I completely forgot that I unlocked the Chaos Orb from killing the Chaos Guardian. So I thought the engram page was just bugging out like Ark normally tends to do. So anyway, I unlocked the orb with commands and proceeded about my day, not realizing that I just cheated hardcore. So I take full responsibility, it completely just slipped my mind, and I promise that I will kill the Spirit Guardian later on. It takes me about 20 days to realize what I've done. And anyway, I'm sorry again, I really did mess up. I hope you can forgive me. I really do feel bad that I cheated, but it's in the past now and there's nothing I can do.
Yes. Okay, now can I unlock Artifacto?
I unlocked and crafted the bad boy and then went out with my Rudolph and threw out my Thorny Dragon on the hill and summoned Artifacto. Boy, did he have a lot of health and he took reduced damage as well, but he was tiny in comparison to the other bosses, so he was no match for my strat. His secret minions did cause me a little bit of trouble, but nothing I couldn't handle. After I dropped most of its health, it thought it could run away from me by running out of render distance.
Did it just run out of render?
But I killed it by the end of day 51.
Finally.
And I grabbed all the artifacts and returned back home. On day 52, I replaced my preserving bin with a fridge. A well overdue upgrade, I'd say. Moving forward, I need to tame a celestial creature of some sort to produce celestial eggs, but I was running low on crops. And when I flew down below my base, my crop farm was destroyed once again, probably from all the boss fights I was doing near that area. So I made 16 crop plots, and this time I placed them inside my base where nothing would be able to destroy them. And I then crafted up a bunch of irrigation pipes because I would need to bring a water source over from the small pond all the way down the hill. And I began placing an intersection inside the base, then dragging it out through the wall and all the way down towards the pond. I did have to return back up to craft more pipes, but soon enough I connected the top with the water and some questionable piping, but I don't care because the base was now irrigated. And of course, now the most crucial part of the base.
Now I need a toilet. Gotta get these crops going again.
I was still missing some raw metal to actually craft a toilet, so I went out to grab some, but right in front of my base, a nasty surprise was waiting for me.
Oh my god. Spear Griffin right outside my base. I would like to tame that though.
But that can wait because I'm working on something way more important than that. A toilet. Anyways, I found some raw metal and gathered a little bit and returned back home to finally craft the pooper. And after draining my stamina and using some questionable methods, I sat on the toilet and produced inhuman amounts of poop and fertilizer, which I I then split into all the crop plots. After that, I flew over to the Redwood Island to gather seeds with my Bronto, and once back at base, I seeded all the crop plots, hopefully the last time I'll ever have to do this. I was still salty about my Grifficorn disappearing into Narnia on day 53.
So mad my Grifficorn's just gone, dude.
Anyways, back to the berry grind I go. I flew over to the redwoods again and threw out my Bronto once again to swing his tail a couple times to get some basic berries. And I then flew right back to base to finally craft 2 celestial kibble. And I also made some more primal infused trank bullets before going out and marking a celestial RG. But there was another one waiting for me literally right outside my base, so I didn't even have to travel that far for it.
Oh, hey there.
So anyway, I kept shooting it while keeping my distance until it was out cold, and after some tame helper and a single celestial kibble, it was now mine. Then I highlighted a low level male to speed up the egg production process. I flew over to it and practiced the same taming ritual as usual. Knock it out, forcefully shove food down its throat, and it loves me for eternity now. Sounds like a fair trade to me. Anyways, back at base, I tried to make even more celestial kibble, but I ran out of citronal.
Make citronal faster.
I then looked through my Primal Fab Sniper blueprints and found this Goliath one with 350 damage. But then I realized I can just make Origin Trank arrows that can knock out anything with 1 arrow, so I made 3 of those. But my patience ran out when I looked into my crop plots again, just to find that 1 citronal was made.
I'm gonna make more crop plots, dude.
So I added 4 more crop plots on top of the already existing 4 and then headed out to the Redwood Island for more seeds.
I will tame that Spirit Griffin, dude.
In a few swings later, I was back on my way back to base, and directly onto the toilet where I produced more fertilizer. And with that, I seeded and fertilized my new crops while the Spirit Griffin was committing various sorts of war crimes right outside my front door.
Bro, what is going on out there? Kinda close to my base, don't we think, guys? It's trying to kill a Lystro, and it can't do it. Its turn radius is too big to kill the Lystro.
Who knew the greatest, most formidable foe of the almighty Spirit Griffin was a simple, tiny Lystro?
Well, I think I'm just gonna have to deal with this, because I can't do anything about it.
Anywho, I made another celestial kibble and went out to tame another female Archie, and I sent a level 50 to sleep and tamed it without any issues. I then crafted a demonic kibble, as I do need demonic eggs as well. So I marked a demonic Daedon, but this one I would kill for its soul, as I also need it for part of the crafting recipe. But while trying to get back home, I once again perished.
What? Am I dying to my own thing?
Anyways, I returned on Rudolph to grab all of my stuff, and once I finally returned home, there was quite a light show going on from the Spirit Griffin.
Holy.
Moving on, I have plenty of egg producers, now it's just a waiting game.
I gotta wait for these celestial eggs to spawn in, dude.
I got my first celestial egg on day 54.
Oh, I got one. Okay, I just gotta wait for the other one.
And waiting is what I did, but even after waiting a whole 14 minutes, no new eggs were produced.
Holy, give me this egg.
And this whole time, the Spirit Griffin was outside still trying its absolute best to kill that poor Lystro. So I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I shot the Lystro myself to hopefully stop the noise and giant explosions.
Got it.
And I also killed any other Lystros that were nearby. I then went back inside in hopes that I would find another celestial egg, but I was quickly met with more disappointment instead.
I'm about to go just tame another celestial one. Never mind.
So I waited and waited and waited, occasionally leaving my base out of boredom. And one time I came back, I finally saw what I was looking for.
Oh, I got it. Egg. Yes.
So I finally made the long-awaited Spirit Orb, but now the hard part actually hitting the Spirit Griffin with an Origin Arrow. But since I'm the master of primitive technology, I landed my first shot right into it and it went to sleep. And I fed it the Spirit Orb and it was mine.
Yes.
I immediately took it out for a test drive just to see how powerful it actually was.
That did some damage. Okay.
Yeah, it's really powerful. That's its damage without any levels in the melee. So I pumped everything in the melee, and I highlighted an Origin Spino and dropped just a few suns on its head. I was still figuring out how to actually aim, but the damage output was just insane.
Oh, so that just annihilated it. Yeah.
And there was also a dragon making way too much noise nearby, so I made it perish. And there was also another Origin Spino chilling a little bit close by, so I delivered a small load of blinding suns right at it.
And I'm gonna name this thing Milk. Milk God. Yes.
And with my need for blood satisfied, I returned back home before the end of the day, where an uninvited guest was waiting for me on day 55. Besides that, I can look into the next tier of bosses in the Primal Smithy.
Now I can move to Nova, Pecan, and Skynet.
And that's where the grind begins, because just to summon one of these 3 bosses, I would need to first kill all the Origin Dinos twice to be able to summon and defeat both the Reaper Empress and Indominus Emperor for their souls. And once I get those, I would then need to kill all the Origin Dinos again, and on top of all that, I also need to make a Chaos and Spirit Orb. And now looking into the tier 6 bosses, the 4 Elemental Colossals. Just crafting one of these requires both the Creator and Destroyer soul, which you get from killing Pecan and Nova. So basically, I'm gonna have to do a ton of farming for like the rest of this 100 days. Anyways, once I actually kill all 4 Colossus, I can then fight Pecan's Revenge. And I think you can really see how this is gonna get grindy very, very soon.
I guess I just gotta start with all the Origins, because I need to kill Nova and Pecan, and then Skynet, because I'm actually gonna use Skynet to like fight other bosses once I defeat it.
So I crafted the missing Origin Dino Summoners before making an Omega Rex to kill for blood. I will be in need of every type of blood. As to craft an Origin Dino Summoner, you need an artifact and 20 of each type of blood. So after ending that Rex, I marked an Apex RG, and while flying towards it, I came across an Origin Carno,
Might as well kill it, dude.
followed by a Primal Carno as well. Then I killed the Apex RG and the Celestial Ferox that was close by. And I also killed a few more creatures, which gave me a different variety of blood before returning home and relogging because these explosions were getting on my nerves.
So I need 1 Spino and 3 Wyvern tributes.
But I was missing an artifact to craft the 3rd Wyvern Summoner, so I hopped on Rudolph to go grab it real quick. And once I finally had all the Origin Dino Summoners crafted and ready, I flew out to the desert on Milk God to kill them all. Starting off with 2 Carnos, and then the Spino and a Dire Bear. And then all 3 of the Karakus and Raptors got perished without even putting up a fight. And after that, I killed all 3 Rexes as well before it turned into day 56. And on day 56, I finished off the RGs before summoning the first Origin Wyvern.
Oh my god, that doesn't feel good.
And it was absolutely dogging on my Griffin, so I jumped off and saved it just in time before getting clapped myself, but at least Milk God was safe.
Yeah. Okay, well I'd rather save the Griffin.
So back at base, I jumped on Rudolph and waited for the Wyvern to fly away from my body before grabbing it and throwing Milk God out once again. And this time I gave him a healing potion and fought the Wyvern that way.
Finally, dude.
And the 2nd and 3rd Wyverns went down much easier as I was using the health potion.
Easy. Didn't even take a hit.
So I returned back home and deposited all the tributes into the Primal Smithy before heading out again to collect artifacts on Rudolph. And back at base, I crafted the Demonic Empress Summoner. But actually fighting it proved to be a little bit more of a challenge than I previously anticipated, as it kept burying itself for some reason.
Bro, why are you being so annoying?
So I did have to land occasionally to get it to come out of the ground, but soon enough it was dead and its soul was mine. And back at base, I was still short of a few souls I would need to summon Nova in.
Celestial Soul, then need Demonic Soul.
So I got on Milk God and flew out to obliterate a few Celestial RGs and some Skinwalkers in disguise, such as this Aloe and Ferox. And I also did kill 1 Demonic Terror Bird before returning home for the night and turning whatever prime meat I had into cooked prime meat. On day 57, I took a look into my egg production soul terminal to find that I had no demonics inside, meaning I had exactly 0 demonic eggs to use for crafting the Chaos Orb.
I have nothing making demonic eggs. That's my problem.
So to solve this issue, I made 2 demonic kibble and set out on Rudolph to go tame a female demonic parasaur. And after a few well-placed shots, the parasaur was out. So I fed it a tame helper and 1 kibble to make it mine before going out to find another one. And this one I shot with an Origin arrow as it was surrounded by danger. And I killed a nearby defense unit that was attacking everything in sight and then tamed the parasaur without any issues. And I did actually find another female after that, so I returned back to base to craft another kibble, but I had actually ran out of long grass.
I need more crop lots, dude.
So I started crafting some more and turning my poop into fertilizer in the process. And once they were all placed out, I filled them with fertilizer before going out to the Redwood Island again to get more seeds to, actually seed them so they grow. Anyways, a couple of swings later, I returned back home to seed all of them, and just like that, my production speed has now doubled for long grass. Anyway, I can now make the demonic kibble that I needed to go out and tame that demonic parasaur. Anyway, once back out there, I shot it with another Origin Trank arrow and waited for it to fall asleep, and then I fed it and returned back home. But I'm still missing 1 demonic soul now.
Alright, let's go kill a demonic.
That being another demonic parasaur, which just pairs instantly under the suns that I dropped on its head with Milk God. Returning back home for like the millionth time today, I came across a fully fledged world war happening right outside my base. So I quickly settled their beef by removing them from the face of this ark.
Finally a spirit orb, dude.
For the Chaos Orb, I would need more kibble, for which I needed Fable Eggs, and my Fabled Pteranodons weren't doing a really good job of producing that many. So I made another 2 Fabled Kibble before running out of Prime Meat Jerky because I'm gonna go tame some more. So anyway, I cooked up a few pieces and made 2 more kibble and then headed out on Rudolph to go tame more Pteranodons. And after taming the first one, I returned back to put it in the Soul Terminal before going out to tame 2 more by the end of day 57. And on day 58, I tamed the last one while almost getting obliterated by a Dodo Rex.
What? Oh!
Back at base, I crafted elemental kibble before heading out on Gina to get some berries for demonic and celestial kibble. But fabled eggs were my only concern at the moment, however, as even my crop farm was still lacking a bit behind.
How do I... Dude, I've never experimented with greenhouse effect before.
So I crafted 6 greenhouse walls to see if I could get some greenhouse effect going.
So does anything happen if I just place it here? No.
And I wasn't about to replace my current walls as they were the extra large ones.
Yeah, never mind, I'm not doing all that.
Guess I would just have to deal with the slow production rates. So to kill time, I went out to farm more souls as I was still in need of a few to actually craft the Nova Summoner. Also, there was a naturally spawned Reaper Empress on the map, and killing that would save me like 8 Origin Dinos that I gotta kill, so I flew over to actually try and kill it.
Brother, where is it?
But once there, it seemed to be in the ground like a lot of other dinos I find with the Creature Finder.
Maybe I'm not gonna kill it.
So back to killing regular demonics I go. I clapped a couple of demonic hyenas and all their local friends, and followed that up by a primal spinal for its soul and blood. And after killing another demonic hyena, I changed my target to primal dinos. And origin dinos were also part of the killing spree as I would need a ton of their tributes down the line anyways. But then I ran into this.
Oh my god, a primal dragon.
I kept spitting out suns while avoiding its attacks. But since it was flying around everywhere, my best bet was just to cover myself in the sun so it would fly straight through them trying to attack me.
Holy, just die.
And once it decided to fly into my attacks, it dropped dead and gave me a bunch of primal blood. And back at base, I finally made the last celestial kibble required to craft the Chaos Orb and Nova.
Oh, Nova the Destroyer.
So on day 59, I returned back to the desert on Milk God to defeat Nova.
Alright, I hope this doesn't go terribly.
I popped a fabled healing potion and summoned Nova in, and immediately dropped a few suns on its head. And it couldn't really do anything as I was flying high up above dropping bombs, but it did have a huge damage reduction.
This is just gonna be a long... It's not even a fight.
But I kept on nuking it while periodically landing for stamina until I dropped half of its health.
Is it stuck?
And it somehow managed to get stuck, making the process much easier for me.
I think it's stuck.
And soon Nova was dead. That was a pretty anticlimactic boss fight. Anyways, it was defeated on the floor, leaving an egg behind. And this egg I could hatch to get my very own Nova, who's super strong. But another thing I got from defeating it was a demonic dissension item, which you can use on any demonic creature except for the Empress to descend it, essentially making it much stronger. Anyhow, I made a few air conditioners to hatch the Nova egg first. I placed those down on the new side of my base, and then made some wires to bring electricity over to them. And once they were powered, I threw out the egg and began the incubation process. And after it hatched, I turned off all the annoying particles and disabled wandering. And after waiting for the imprint timer, I fed it a single Tinto berry to fully imprint this demigod of a beast.
100% imprint just like that.
Alright, the morning of day 60, Nova was fully grown, so I healed it and then fed her a max experience potion before doing some more research.
Yeah, I need that. I need to kill these. They're so expensive.
But in theory, they drop a ton of souls, so it would be well worth the trade-off.
Yeah, so before I can fight Pecan or Skynet, I'm gonna want to kill the demonic Reaper Empress and this guy as well, the celestial one.
So I leveled up a little bit of health into Nova before taking her out for the testing process.
Alright, this thing should be pretty strong now.
And I came across a Chaos Rex, which got sent straight to meet its makers after I got hit by one of Nova's attacks.
Oh yeah, this is quite strong. Quite strong. Alright, well this is my new boss fighting guy now.
So after gently making my way back to base by totally not stomping on every living creature that was unfortunate to be in my path, I looked through the requirements to summon the demonic Reaper Empress boss. I still need 2 Empress souls and 10 demonic souls as well as a ton of origin tributes.
Dude, this is gonna be a lot of farming. This is what Primal Fear is.
So I started off by going on a killing spree with my Spirit Griffin to gather all sorts of blood, primarily targeting Omega and Apex creatures. And after getting the blood, I shifted my focus to killing Celestials and Demonics for their souls. But then I stumbled upon this.
Oh, Chaos Bee, 140. That's pretty good. I might need to tame that. Okay, hold up. Side quest time.
So I made my way back home before the end of the day. And on day 61, I wanted to craft a Chaos Orb, but apparently I had no Mayho berries, so I got on Gina to munch down on whatever little bushes were left in front of my base. And with that, I made all 3 of the kibble necessary and made the Chaos Orb. And then I grabbed an experience potion and a saddle before heading back out on Milk God to actually tame the bee. And on my way over, I may or may not have dropped a few suns on any unsuspecting demonic Hyenodon and Celestial RG. Anyways, I finally made it back to the bee and pulled out my bow and shot an origin arrow straight into it.
Dude, this thing is quick.
It went to sleep above water, which isn't optimal, but it tamed instantly after I fed it, so it'll be alright. I then gave it an experience potion and saddled up and leveled some health into it.
I'm assuming it's gonna kill this thing really quickly. Yeah. Honestly, I dig this.
And it was also quite quick, so I flew around killing demonics and celestials on the back of the beat. I killed a bunch of demonic terror birds before switching to killing primal dinos. I only had one primal soul back at base, and I needed 15 in total to summon Artifact of the Ascended because I need more artifacts. So I first killed all the primal raptors, as those were pretty easy targets, and then I moved on to allosauruses. And just as I was flying over to the first allo, I stumbled upon this fella.
Oh, crazy. Artifact of the Great. Crazy pool.
I collected his artifacts and shortly after killed this first primal allo. And after arriving at his second supposed allo, I was disappointed just to find a primal tech stegos, so instead I looked in the creature finder to find another artifact of the Great on the map. But first I deposited all of my junk in my inventory into my primal smithy back at base. And then I flew out to assassinate Artifacto. This time it dropped 5 artifacts. Anyways, back to the primal grind, this time hunting a few primal carnos. And I also did kill a celestial RG minding its own business. I collected the artifact at the very top of the snowy mountain and then killed a primal raptor before the end of the day. Day 62 began by killing a primal bear, a celestial RG, and a demonic Daedon all on the same island. I then took out a primal Kentro before finding a max level skeletonized Tyrannosaur on the map.
I think I need to tame that, to be honest.
But looking at the bone meal recipe which you use to tame it, it's a little rough.
Of course it just needs souls.
Yeah, so that's not happening anytime soon. Instead, I continued killing primal celestials, and I also came across an origin RG. But my chaos speed wasn't really optimal at killing flying creatures, so I threw out Nova and made quick work of the RG. And I killed one more primal allo before returning back to my base to check on the progress. I was just missing 2 more primal souls and a little bit of Apex and Omega blood. So this time I got on my Griffin to get the only Omega dino on the map, but as soon as I arrived, it disappeared.
Dude, it just meshed and despawned.
So in the meantime, I killed an Apex Raptor and a Saber and returned back home to deposit the blood. And I set out once again to kill the final 2 primal dinos that I needed for Artifacto, and the first victim being a primal rock drake.
Need one more primal.
So I marked it and killed a primal megalodon before returning home for the end of the day. Day 63, I finally crafted Artifacto the Ascended, and I took Nova outside and took care of an unexpected visitor.
Oh, there's a primal carno literally right there.
Anyways, I summoned in Artifacto into the canyon and started attacking him.
Oh my god, I just sent him flying.
But a few more tail swings later, he magically evaporated from the face of this arc.
Can't even see him. Nice. Oh no, where's that item cache at?
Yeah, I might have accidentally harvested its corpse, so now I have to look for the very tiny item cache. But I found it in the water right below Nova, saving me a heart attack.
Oh, it's right here.
So I grabbed most of the artifacts and returned on my B to grab the rest.
Give me like 1,000,000 of the same artifact. It's gonna make trips.
And after a few back and forths, I had all the artifacts back in my base. And while looking through the boss summoners, I got an idea.
Dude, I need to set up like a blood farm. That sounds horrible.
So I checked the settings of the soul terminal and allowed it to collect and incubate fertilized eggs. I wasn't too sure how it worked just yet, so I threw out a couple of thorny dragons and allowed them to breed and put them back inside, but no fertilized eggs were being produced.
Alright, sadly I have to watch a tutorial.
With the tutorial, I discovered that the soul terminal doesn't make the fertilized eggs, it just collects them off the floor. So I made a second soul terminal for specifically that. So I grabbed all my dinos that were producing eggs for me, and I threw out the first 2 thorny dragons for testing purposes.
Breed. That was weird. Okay.
And I waited for the egg to drop, but once again, the terminal didn't actually pick it up. Instead, the egg just disappeared.
Oh. Where'd it go? What? Hello? That egg just despawned.
So after doing some extensive research, I made some soul traps and enabled newborn auto trap on the terminal, which basically just cryos the babies as soon as they hatch. But this time when the dragons were done breeding, it actually collected and incubated the egg before it hatched. So with this setup now working, I threw out all the different types of dinos that I had, and with the power of the soul terminal, forced them all to breed. Very useful feature.
Now it's just wait and see if it works.
And on day 64, they dropped all the fertilized eggs, and the terminal picked them all up. Next, I moved the air conditioners to a different corner of my base, as that area was now exclusive for my not-so-ethical blood farm. I then connected up the ACs up to power, and brought the Theria over to them because this would be part of the base that would now be the blood collection chamber. So I grabbed all the eggs and threw them out, but since I killed them instantly after birth, all their bodies just fell through the floor.
No. They just go through the floor.
So I grabbed a few new eggs that were produced in the meantime and tried again. And this time I waited a little bit before killing them, but they still all fell through the floor.
Bruh. Like, do I have to leave them alive for like all eternity?
So with a couple of new eggs, I hatched them and waited like a minute this time.
No, they just despawn.
So the experimenting on innocent and clueless babies continues. I grabbed stone arrows and a sword, and the crossbow actually worked, and so did the sword. But harvesting their corpse gave me a pitiful amount of blood.
This is not that efficient.
So anyways, I then threw out an Omega Sarco and waited for it to be a juvenile. And I then swiped at it with the Theria, but its body disappeared once again. After that, I killed and harvested an Apex Thorny Dragon, which gave me 3 blood.
Alright, the next only thing I can think of is wait till they're like fully grown, which could take a little bit.
Nonetheless, it was worth trying, so I grabbed all the eggs and threw them out to grow. So in the meantime, I went out to tame another Omega Sarco that I found with Creature Finder. And after 3 shots and 1 kibble, it was mine, and since there was another female on the map, I might as well go tame it. But that's not before obliterating an Origin Carno that was unfortunate enough to be in my path to the other Sarco. And speaking of that Sarco, I knocked it out and tamed it, and then returned back home to check on my babies. I then threw out the new Sarcos and made them breed before throwing out the Theria again and waiting for all the babies to mature to adulthood.
Okay, I think everything's fully grown. Let's see how this works.
Well, apart from the fact that things got a little bit out of hand, as I did kill all of them and actually get a decent amount of blood.
Alright, so I need to enclose this space to make like a kill dungeon, bro. That's terrible.
But it is what had to be done in the name of progress. Moving forward, I then took my Doad out to farm stone, which I then turned into large walls and a gate. And on the morning of day 65, I began construction on said kill dungeon.
Alright, my kill pen has been assembled.
And while I was building it, a ton of eggs were produced, so I threw them all out and began letting them grow. And once they were all mature, I got on my tickle chicken and began the sacrificial ritual.
Whoa, 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 what is... Ooh, dude. Something nearly just clapped me.
Besides almost dying to my own creations, I got a lot of blood, so I made a Reaper Empress Summoner and then crafted a bunch of Origin Summoners. I then proceeded to fly out into the desert and got on Nova and summoned the first 3 Origins. I killed the first 2 but lost sight of the Raptor. It probably got sent to the Shadow Realm by one of my attacks, as they have a ton of knockback.
Hello? Oh, it's just right here. What?
Anyways, it perished in the matter of seconds, so I summoned the next 3 culprits, which met a similar fate. Purple balls of death right to the face. Finally, the Origin Wyvern, the most formidable of the Origin family tree. Just kidding, it got swatted out of the sky like a fly. So I then summoned the Reaper Empress.
Oh my, I just did half of its health in 1 shot.
Anyways, I made the Reaper magically vanish into my purple balls attack. Okay, that sounded crazy. Anyway, then a Manticore came at me spitting some nonsense, so I silenced it and returned back home. But that was just Empress Soul number 1 of 2. So I made another Reaper Empress Summoner and then returned back out to the desert to get its soul. I then threw out my Nova.
Bro.
I waited for it to stop with its tomfoolery and then got on it and summoned the second Empress. But this time, it didn't go as smooth as I had anticipated.
Oh, neutral.
So I got clapped because I got dismounted by its annoying little minions. So anyway, back at base, I returned on my Chaos Bee to assert dominance. I hovered over the Empress and shot bee bombs or whatever these are called until it finally gave its soul to me. Then I got my body and picked up Nova and returned back home. With both Empress souls being collected, I was missing Fire Feathers, Demonic Hide and Souls, and Spirit and Chaos Orbs, and then of course Origin Tributes. So I'm gonna start off with the orbs. I was once again out of Mehoberry for the kibble required to craft the orbs. But first, I ran around my hatchery to collect unfertilized eggs, and then I grabbed my Bronto and flew out to the Redwood Island to gather the berries. I returned back to base on day 66, and I crafted the kibbles necessary for both the Chaos and Spirit orbs. Next up, the Origin Tributes, for which I need all the blood of course, so I looked into my soul terminal, which had once again collected a ton of eggs.
This might be too many eggs.
I didn't take all of them, but I still took a pretty good amount. And then I threw them all out and waited for them to grow up. This time I fed my Theria a healing potion before committing unspeakable crimes that happened inside the kill chamber. However, karma got me this time as my Theria got clapped even though with the health potion.
What?
So I got on my Spirit Griffin and finished the job, which also gave me a ton more blood.
Oh my god, this farms so much blood. What am I doing?
Well, 1 Theria is a very small price to pay for valuable information. So with all that blood I got, I made 3 of each Origin Dino Summoner.
Alright, let's go kill a metric ton of Origins.
And then I flew out to the desert once again and started war with the Origins. First, all 3 Spinos and Raptors, and once those perished, I summoned the Rexes and Karakus. They never stood a chance, and then I spawned everything else except for the Wyverns and made quick work of them. And then finally, I spawned all 3 Wyverns at once, and honestly, they didn't put up much of a fight either.
Yep, you're cooked, buddy. Back to the lobby.
But back at base, I noticed I was missing something.
What? How did I not get Carno tributes?
And I didn't have the RG tributes either. Honestly, not sure where those went, but anyways, I made the new summoners and threw out a bunch of eggs to harvest for blood. Also, my cables broke inside the kill chamber, so I made some new ones and reconnected the air conditioner so the rest of the eggs could hatch as well. And once they were all grown up, I swiped them with Milk God and harvested a ton more blood just before the end of the day. And on day 67, I finally realized the major mistake I made earlier on in this challenge.
I haven't recorded in almost 2 weeks. And when I was going back through the script and all that, I realized that, you know, I needed to kill the Spirit Guardian to actually unlock the Spirit Orb. But as you all saw, I just gave the engram to myself. because at the time, I didn't realize that I had to kill a spirit guardian. I thought my engrams just weren't working right. So I cheated really hard and I still feel terrible about it. So I'm gonna stop everything I'm doing now and I'm gonna kill the spirit guardian so then I can, try and make up for it, but please do feel free to roast me in the comments. I definitely deserve it.
So I got to farming all the necessary items I would need for the Spirit Guardian Summoner. Right outside my base, I killed a Demonic Capro and Celestial Rex for their souls, and I then flew out to the desert to kill the Celestial Indominus Emperor.
Alright, well now I have to kill like 13 demonics and 13 celestial dinos.
So I switched out Milk God for the Chaos Bee and continued the eradication of any demonic and celestial being I came across. And I also killed a Dark Archie for the feathers, as I was also lacking on those.
In origin, you say? I miss.
That's one less Origin I have to use resources for. But then I found this right next to the Origin Raptor.
Oh, Spirit Bee. 135. Ooh. Oh, but I need a Spirit Orb to... Oh, I need that so bad. But, okay, I can't craft the Spirit Orb because I gotta kill the Spirit Guardian first.
And guess what? I then found another Spirit Bee.
Oh, 150. There's two!
Now I really gotta hurry up and get the Spirit Guardian killed. So with that being said, I killed all the demonics that I needed and returned back to base to drop off all the loot. And then I headed back out to kill the remaining Celestials. The first being Athyla, it got absolutely eviscerated, shortly followed by his lost cousin.
Oh my god, he got domed.
And while killing Celestial Argies, I came across a cute family of Origin Carnos.
Whoa. Two Origin Carnos you shouldn't have.
I killed them both as the day came to an end. Day 68 started off with a Celestial Argy getting vaporized by my Nova, and I kept hunting Celestials while also killing any Origins I came across. And the Art Gods had a few more blessings to give me.
Ooh.
An Artifacto, donator of artifacts. Anyways, after killing a bunch of Argies, I had all the 15 Celestial Souls that I needed, so I returned back home to craft the Spirit Guardian Summoner.
Alright, Spirit Guardian.
Time to redeem myself for my sins. And the strategy I would use is the same one I used for the Chaos Guardian, even though things did go a little south last time. Anyways, I felt a little bit more confident on the Chaos Beast. So I threw out my demonic thorny dragon deeper inside the cave for safekeeping and made a few sleeping bags so I could respawn inside the cave in case history repeats itself. Anyways, I then flew outside and summoned in the Spirit Guardian and got its aggro. And just like last time, I made it follow me back to the cave entrance. I wasn't getting hit, but the spirit minions were a little bit of a nuisance, so I took care of them. Also, my Chaos explosions were only doing damage on impact, which was not optimal at all.
It's just not, I'll hit it, but it doesn't do tick damage.
So I swapped the bee out for the thorny dragon, and now I actually got it to burn the explosions. That's until it just decided to leave.
Oh, and it left.
I guess bro was having a bad day and needed some rest. So anyway, I peeked out with my thorny dragon, but couldn't see the boss anywhere, so I went back inside to get on my bee and look for it that way.
Wait, I could just track it.
So I got it to aggro to me once again and skedaddled right back into the cave, where I resumed throwing explosives into its dome. And on day 69, after a decently long session of sitting in one place and pressing right click every 5 seconds, the Spirit Guardian dropped dead.
Yes. Okay. I've redeemed myself. My sins have hopefully been cleansed. Probably not. I'm still gonna get flamed in the comments. Whatever.
But at least I can now go and tame the Spirit Bee I saw back on day 67. And on my way back home, I clapped a dragon and a Primal Megalodon. I just thought I'd let you know how alpha I am. Anyways, once back at base, I grabbed the Spirit Orb I had lying around and flew back out to the Redwoods where the 150 bee was waiting for me.
What, bruh? You can't see off the back of this bee.
So I got on Rudolph instead, but when I returned back, the area got compromised by a few dangerous creatures. So I made quick work of them with my thorny dragon before getting back on Rudolph to trank this bee out. And luckily, I hit the first shot and the bee knocked out and tamed instantly with the Spirit Orb.
Yes.
So I fed it some XP potions and then tested out its capabilities on a demonic parasaur. Yeah, it's safe to say it's really good. So back at base, I leveled it up, and when trying to make a saddle for it, I got notified of my severe lack of polymer. So I made a quick trip back to the desert where I politely asked a mantis to spare me some. And since it declined, I was forced to end its life and take the polymer forcefully. Anyways, I made the Spirit Bee saddle and healed it.
And I can finally start moving forward. What was that gonna do? Yeah, I was gonna kill a demonic Reaper Empress, but now I need more Origin tributes.
So I flew back out to grab the 2 artifacts I would need in order to craft more Origin summoners. And I then flew out to the desert on day 70 to kill all the Origins with my new Spirit Bee. The damage on its own wasn't much higher than my Chaos Bee, but the area effect was definitely much bigger. So anyways, I clapped all the Origins and returned back home to check on my progress.
I need demonic souls, artifacts, I need another Spirit Orb.
I then made the Spirit Orb orb and began killing demonics again, as I needed 7 more souls and a bunch more hide for the Reaper Empress. And soon enough I had all 7 souls, so I returned back home, and now I just need the artifacts and some fire feathers. So I set out to kill some dark parrots and a fire griffin, and with all them killed I moved to killing fire parrots. The hunt continued into day 71. I killed a lot of dark parrots, fire parrots, archies, and basically all the feathery boys. And any creature that tried interfering with my feather mission was also sent to meet its creator. Except this spirit dodo wyvern. Yeah, I'm not messing with that. Anyways, as night was approaching, I set out to grab the 2 artifacts again, as I would need them for the boss summoner as well. And the farming finally came to an end a third of the way through day 72, when I returned back to base and threw all the stuff into the primal smithy for the demonic Reaper Empress boss. And of course, I crafted the summoner.
Finally, man. Demonic Reaper Empress. Oh, dude, this just cost me hours of my life. I'm never getting back.
That being said, it's time to actually kill the Reaper, so I hopped on my spirit bee and flew out to the desert where I despawned the demonic Empress. And hovering above it proved to be a successful strategy. It couldn't hit me, but all of my attacks were hitting it.
This is gonna take a while.
Minor inconveniences aside, like the Reaper running away every now and then.
Oh.
And this spirit dodo wyvern was also a paid actor. Anyways, the Reaper died without putting up too much of a fight, and now the moment we've all been waiting for, the souls of the Reaper Empresses. How many would I get?
5 to 7. Please give me 7. 6, I can't complain. Never mind, I'm gonna complain. I wanted 7.
Anyhow, I returned back to base to look at what I would need for the Celestial and Dominus Emperor boss. And let's just say it wasn't a pretty sight.
So much fun. I'm gonna need to kill like 3, 4 artifactos.
And for that, I would need a metric ton of celestial, demonic, and primal souls, as well as all sorts of feathers, primal, omega, and apex bloods.
I hate my existence.
So kicking things off, I threw out a bunch of eggs in my blood farm / kill chamber thing and waited for them all to grow up.
Alright, everything is fully grown. Time to kill them all. I think I might just kill a pecan, to be honest, first.
I then took my Bronto and flew out to the Redwood Island to get some more Mayo berries. And I did get jumped by monkeys while running back to my Rudolph, and looking into its inventory, I had way more health than I'm supposed to have. 250,000 to be exact. Not sure what caused this glitch to happen, but I guess it doesn't matter. It goes away after I relog. Anyways, on day 73, I continued harassing celestial creatures for the souls so I could eventually make the pecan summoner.
How did that not hit?
During my hunt, I also found another artifacto.
Ooh, artifact. Ooh.
So I collected my artifact donation and continued killing things. A dark parrot then appeared on my radar, so I took it down as well for some feathers. And this primal raptor Agrinopolis also didn't do a great job at keeping itself hidden from me. And I kept killing everything that I would need for any upcoming boss until the end of the day. And on day 74, I switched back to killing demonics as my primary target. And while minding my own business, aka collecting souls from mortal beings, I caught the attention of this mighty beast.
Oh my god. That's not good.
A max level spirit dragon. I tried ignoring it, so I harvested the demonic thorny dragon and moved on, but the dragon had different plans.
Bro.
It was challenging me to a Primal Fear exclusive dogfight, and I couldn't just resist it, and I had to accept his 1v1 offer. But after missing 3 barrages of the bee missiles, I had to escape the combat area as the dragon was way too agile and quick for my shots. So I then flew away while hiding my position on its radar, and it never saw me again. And also, I eradicated all the demonic thorny dragons on the map, so after killing a demonic Hyedodon and Daedon, I moved on back to killing primal dinos. And after a while of killing those defenseless primals, I chose to look into the creature finder, and I saw a primal dodo wyvern was on the map. So I accepted the challenge and flew over to it, and when I started attacking it, I quickly realized that this was not going to be a walk in the park.
Oh my god, that's not so good.
That's because this bozo actually fights back, and its attacks are a bit more dangerous than any other primal creature.
What? What?
Strong enough to kill me off my tame apparently. So I got on Rudolph at my base and flew back to the wyvern, and I saved my bee from its attacks and then retreated to a safer spot.
You ain't kill my bee, boy. My bee. Ain't your bee, my bee.
And when the wyvern's attention shifted to some random creature in the woods, I used the opportunity to sneak up and grab my stuff.
Where's all my stuff?
Well, some of my stuff. Yeah, it appears I had so much stuff on me that I couldn't even carry it all. So I had to transfer the stuff into my bee before I could grab the rest of it. Anyways, once I finally got everything, I decided to leave the dodo wyvern alone and instead return back to killing smaller, more easier to kill primals. So on day 75, I killed the last primal, being a Carno, and returned back home and sorted out my inventory. And looking into the Artifacto Summoner, I made the mistake somewhere during my calculations because I can only make 1 summoner.
What? How did I miscalculate, bro?
Anyways, I grabbed a bunch of Apex and Omega eggs from my terminal and threw them out in the kill chamber. The last thing I needed for the second artifact though was one Primal Soul, so I looked through the creature finder and marked a Primal Megalodon. But it was a lucky day for said Megalodon because when I tried shooting it, only a few of my shots hit to do how deep in the ocean it was. So instead, I returned back home to swap out my Chaos Speed for the Spirit one. And on my way back, I saw the Primal Dodo Wyvern had landed on a mountain in the redwoods, so I tested my luck once again and shot it with the bead. And unfortunately, it didn't die, meaning I was cooked. I tried doing an evasive maneuver, but the Wyvern had locked on me perfectly, so I ended up dying again. That's 2-0 for the Wyvern. I can't let this slide. So I returned to the redwoods on day 76 and saved my beat, while also juking the Wyvern out on a nearby mountain and then grabbing my stuff. But now I've had enough of this Primal Wyvern. I threw out my Nova and slowly made my way up to the mountain and killed the Wyvern. And on my descent from the hill, I also clapped a Chaos Speed and a Primal Raptor. Finally, once back on my base, I crafted the second artifact of Summoner, and I got on my Spirit Beat and flew out to the desert. There, I then threw out Nova and summoned the first Artifacto. And like the little magician he is, he started doing some weird electric attack, which actually dismounted me, but luckily I was on top of Nova and completely safe. But something was off. I was only doing 5,000 damage per tick, and every time I hit the Artifacto, he would be sent flying away. So I picked up my Nova and switched back to the Spirit Beat.
Why is my Spirit Beat stronger than Nova?
And with the Beat, it was more smoother sailing. I kept dropping nuclear suns on its head while staying completely clear of any danger. And once it was dead, I grabbed all the artifacts I could carry and made a trip back to base to deposit them. I then jumped on Rudolph to make 2 more runs back and forth for all the artifacts, and then returned back to kill another artifactor as well. And he also got clapped without any issues. Alright, back at base with all my new artifacts now collected, it's time to get some more blood, meaning more sacrificial eggs. I threw them all out into the kill chamber and waited as usual. This time I only killed Apex Stony Dragons and they gave me a decent amount of blood. And just before the end of the day, I crafted the origins I would need for the Celestial Emperor boss. Day 77 started off with me sacrificing more dinos in the kill chamber. I was running low on Fable blood, so I threw out a bunch of Fable PTs, and once they all grew up, of course I turned them into blood. This time I didn't get a whole lot, but it would do for now. Anyways, I then made the final origin summoners I would need, and I flew outside with my Spirit Bee to kill them. But after summoning the origin bear, I got ambushed by a stray Quetzal.
What? Who are you?
But it got clapped instantly, and so did the bear. I then spawned a bunch of the origins at once, and then night turned into day by throwing nukes on them. This one Carno thought he could just abandon the fight and ran off, but unfortunately for him, I need his tribute. Next up, all the Spinos and Rexes, and they all dropped like flies. And speaking of, it's time to kill the flyers. I summoned all 3 of the RGs and shot the floor, and then flew into it, leading all the RGs to their imminent death. And lastly, now the Wyverns. The strategy remains the same: shoot the floor and fly in so the Wyverns follow.
Hey, you know, where'd that other Wyvern go? Did I just get gypped?
Yeah, for some reason, I only got 2 tributes from the 3 Wyverns that I killed. And I did summon all 3, as you can clearly see right here.
Oh, I think I got gypped, dude. I only got 2 Wyvern tokens.
So I returned back home and deposited all the tributes and souls and checked the crafting requirements for the Emperor.
Oh, and I need to make 2 oh my god.
Yeah, I need to make the 2 weaker Emperors because I need their 2 souls to make the stronger Emperor. And this would also mean that I have to kill all the origins again, twice. I hate my life. Anyways, I then flew out on the Spirit Bee and summoned the first Emperor. I did get hit by one of its attacks, which sent me plummeting to the floor.
Oh my god, I might be cooked.
But I popped a few healing potions and everything was fine, until he did it again.
Dude, chill.
And again. So the 4th time, I distanced myself far enough above it to where it couldn't hit me anymore. But flying so high up proved to be a really bad idea, because as the Emperor died, I was too far away to actually get the soul from killing it.
What? Why did I not get an Emperor's soul?
And as I was getting tired of not getting souls and tributes for killing stuff, I called up one of my boys from the Art God Institution, and he hooked me up with the Emperor's soul. Anyhow, I summoned the next Emperor, and I actually got this one stuck perfectly to where I could sit and attack it and it wasn't gonna move. And once it was low, I flew closer to it and killed it, and I actually got the soul.
Alright, I got the soul that time. That's good.
That being said, I did need to kill all the origins once again, but this time I wasn't gonna craft them all. Instead, I flew out with my bee and started killing wild ones. I killed 3 RGs and then marked a Karaku. There was only one on the map at the moment, so I would need to craft 2 more of those. And next, 2 Origin Raptors. And while flying over to the first one, I came across another Origin RG, so I packed it up and then moved on to the Raptors. And my next victim was an Origin Carno, shortly followed by another Raptor. And then I returned back home where I crafted all the remaining Origins. And on day 78, I flew out to the infamous desert to kill all the Origins. And with all the land dinos dead, I summoned all 3 Wyverns again, and hopefully this time I will get all the tributes I need. But I guess not.
Dude, what? Whenever I spawn 3, I only get 2.
Yeah, I spawned all 3 of them, but I guess I only got the tributes for 2. The third one just seems to disappear for some reason. So I had to return back to my base, where I then made a new Origin Wyvern Summoner and then returned back out to kill it. And I also clapped this random demonic capro that was causing noise near my base. Extra souls always come in handy. Anyway, back at base, I accidentally ate a primal narcotic, meaning my guy went straight to sleep.
Oh.
So after a short nap, I finally crafted the stronger Celestial Emperor and then went out with my Spirit Bee to kill it.
Why do you have that much health? Why are you so big, dude? Oh my god. Oh, I'm cooked.
But I got out of the stun before getting clapped, and even though it had a lot of health, it was still dying fast.
It's getting shredded though. Oh, it's powered down. This is my chance.
And as soon as it died, I opened the soul package and I got a whopping
5. Rah!
But at least the armor it gave me was pretty nice. The movement speed is really fun.
Oh, I'm increased movement speed, bro. Okay, this is crazy.
Alright, enough skedaddling around my base, back to bosses.
Time to fight Pecan.
I started off by collecting more fabled eggs so I can make kibble for the spirit orb. And to make a chaos orb, I was missing celestial souls. And I also checked out the soul requirements for Pecan being 2 primal souls and 1 demonic and then 8 celestial souls. So I started off by hunting celestial arches again before the end of the day. And I also killed an origin one while I was at it. I returned home on day 79 and I crafted the origins that I would need for Pecan. And I killed them all as usual, and I got the 1 demonic soul I needed in the process as well. And once all the origins ceased to exist, I then returned home and turned off breeding on the sacrificial dinos because my PTs weren't producing fabled eggs, which I need for the chaos orb. And while waiting for those to appear in the terminal, I went out to hunt down some more celestials for their souls. And I also came across another origin RG, so of course I had to accept the free tribute donation. And once I had the 5 extra celestial souls I needed, I marked 1 demonic parasaur, which I then killed and then finally returned back to base, and boom, I made a chaos orb. And now the only tribute I'm missing were now 2 primal souls. So I jumped back on my bee and killed a couple of primal carnos, and after that I finally made the boss summoner.
Found the creator. Finally. All this work for 2 bosses, and I need to kill them each like 1,000,000 times.
I then flew out to the desert where I summoned in Pecan and began the fight.
Pecan. Probably should have summoned you a little. Why do you have nearly 1 billion health? Oh my god. Why am I getting dogged on? Stop.
Yeah, I was getting destroyed by Pecan. I heavily underestimated him. I did manage to get away from him to kill his drones though. They were annoying because they were damaging me off my bee somehow. So I decided to return back to base and rethink my strategy before the end of the day. I started day 80 off by making a few healing potions, then returning to the fight on the spirit bee. And this time I wasn't taking damage while mounted, so I kept flying around and dropping bombs on Pecan, slowly chipping away at his enormous amount of health. And eventually he died.
Pecan the creator is dead, but his minions aren't.
They did more damage than Pecan himself. Kind of embarrassing to be honest.
I'll be taking my egg. Oh sweet, and I also have Pecan armor now. Gives me basically every effect I could ever want.
On top of having a tech suit as well, it means I can now fly.
Armor does look pretty sick, I cannot lie to you.
And now that I killed both Pecan and Nova, I could finally move on to the next tier of bosses, which are Electric, Ice, Fire, and Caustic Colossus.
Anyway, I now have the souls required for 1 Colossus. I need 3 more.
Yeah, this is where Primal Fear gets super grindy. So to fight Pecan's revenge, I would need to kill 4 more Novas and 4 more Pecans. And to kill those, I need a ton more Origin Tributes and, a ton more artifacts.
So basically, I've got to farm like a bazillion artifactos.
So I gotta start here. I started off by getting Apex and Fabled Blood. And for the rest of day 80 and all the way throughout day 81, I farmed Demonic and Celestial Soul, so here's a quick montage of that. I paused my killing spree halfway through day 82 to check on my progress.
Need more Apex blood and then, infinite primal souls as usual.
So I put all of my dinos on breeding again and then flew out to kill the remaining primal creatures. And by the end of the day, I crafted the first of many artifactos. Day 83, I committed more crimes against newborns inside the kill chamber, and that was before going out to hunt more primals. And I actually came across an old foe of mine being the primal dodo wyvern. But this time I clapped it without dying, evening the score out to 2-2. And I also stopped by to grab an artifact on the snowy mountain before heading back home and crafting the second artifact artifacto just before the end of the day. I then summoned and clapped both of them on day 84. And after collecting and depositing all the artifacts back at base, I once again mass slaughtered Fabled and Apex creatures for blood. I barely got any Apex blood, however, so I continued killing Apex and Primal creatures in the wild instead. Here's a montage of day 85's killing spree, mostly hunting down Primal creatures. And back at base, I crafted the third and hopefully final artifacto. I then flew out to desert to do the usual, killing it, and sent it back to the Shadow Realm, literally.
Where'd the artifacto go? Oh.
And this time I actually put an end to its misery.
Boom, artifacto dead.
Once I transferred all the artifacts, I threw out a bunch of eggs into the kill chamber for more blood so I could craft all the Origin Summoners once again. And the Omega Sarcos really came in clutch this time with their blood donations.
What? Holy blood.
Anyways, I got a bunch of Origin tributes crafted, and I then flew out to the desert to turn them all into tributes. And I made sure to only spawn 2 Origin Wyverns at a time because we all know by now, the game likes to not give me a third tribute when I spawn 3 for whatever reason. I returned back home on day 87 to check on the progress with the bosses.
What? How am I missing a Carno tribute? I guess I must have accidentally dropped it or something. So I'm just gonna need another Carno tribute, orbs, and then, 500,000 souls like usual.
So I first headed out to get that last Carno tribute, and after that I returned to craft the Chaos and Spirit Orbs.
Need more Feywild eggs, dude.
And while waiting for that, I continued farming Celestials and Demonics for their souls. And I also came across an artifacto during my search.
Ooh, hey there.
And by the end of the day, I had 17 Celestial and Demonic souls, 4 or more of each Origin tribute, and a bunch of artifacts still left over. So now I just need Primal souls and a Spirit Orb to summon the next Nova. Day 88 started off by crafting 3 more Chaos Orbs and 4 Spirit Orbs. And to kill Nova 4 more times, I would need
12 Celestial souls, 15 Demonic souls, 19 Primal souls.
Meaning it's time for another soul acquiring montage, which continued throughout day 88 and into day 89. On day 90, I switched my focus to getting all the Primal Souls that I need, and by the end of day 90, I had everything to make 4 Nova Summoners, or 2 Pecan and 2 Nova Summoners.
Yes.
So I made 2 of both bosses.
Awesome. I want that, 500,000 hours of my life back.
Anyways, day 91, now it's time to kill these bosses for their souls, so I flew out to the desert on my trusty Spirit Bee and began the first Nova fight.
Nova?
And as you can imagine, the boss fight looks something like this.
Dude, I can't even see. Now we're doing some damage.
And I did try to cheese it, even though it was basically not even a threat to me.
Can I get it stuck? Yes. Oh, maybe it's not stuck. And how are you stuck now? Ah! That hurt.
And the Nova knew it was cooked before it even died.
Why did it drop an egg? It's not even dead yet. Bang. Alright, that's one Nova down. Why did it drop the egg before it died? Whatever. I'll take it.
Anyways, it's time for the second Nova. I summoned it in, but it got stuck in the same spot, and I cooked it alive with my nuclear bee sons.
Alright, now let's go grab the pecans. Drop the stuff off back at base.
With the pecans on me, I returned back to the desert and summoned the first one, but these dudes had an enormous amount of health and could actually really mess me up.
Please die somewhat easily. Oh my god.
I got sent flying back to the ground by one of its attacks, while also getting shredded by its minions, so I had to pop a health potion to keep my bee alive.
Holy, let me out.
But the same couldn't be said about me.
What? How did I just get deleted, dude? If I lose my Spirit Bee like that, I'm gonna be so mad.
So I returned on my Chaos Bee and witnessed the Spirit Bee get launched into orbit. But no worries, I saved it once I got sent back to the floor as well. But getting off the floor wasn't as easy as it looked though.
Oh, I might be cooked here, chat.
After getting grounded like a dozen times, I finally took off and put some distance between me and Pecan, meaning I could actually go grab my stuff.
Go, 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 go.
And I did get my stuff relatively unharmed, and then I returned back to base to swap back to the Spirit Bee before returning back to the fight. And when I did return, Pecan found much more interest in licking the sand off the beach rather than fighting me. His minions were still being annoying, but at least Pecan was stuck, sorta. I'm definitely not complaining, so I kept shooting nuclear suns at him until he died.
It should be him dead now. I just gotta kill the drones. Yes.
And his corpse was practicing some sort of dark magic that was simply too much for my human brain to even comprehend.
What?
Anyways, I yoinked his egg and then canceled his dark magic ritual by eating his corpse with my bee.
Alright, let me go put this stuff away, and then I gotta fight yet another pecan.
Hopefully one that's intelligent as the last. There must have been something special on that beach to get his attention hooked like that. Anyways, day 92, time for the second pecan. I summoned him in the middle of the desert once again and almost instantly got sent to the ground. But I then flew out a render distance the first chance I got, and I took care of his drones before returning and attacking him from a distance. And the beach that got the last pecan hooked seemed to really be some sort of magical beach, as this pecan also found it rather amusing. So I got rid of his minions whenever he spawned more in and sent more nukes at him until he died.
Thank you. Oh, wait. Oh, it better not. I better not have to spawn in a soul because it didn't give it to me.
But I was correct, the pecan did not drop his soul.
Ah, dude, that's so stupid.
So I grabbed his egg and harnessed the power of his magical beach to acquire the creator soul I was supposed to get for killing Pecan in the first place.
So now I need to kill 2 more Novas and 2 more Pecans, and that's enough to kill all the Colossus, and then Pecan's revenge. I still got so much more to do. Please, somebody put me out of my misery.
Anyhow, I returned back to base to do some math on the boss tributes.
8. So 8 times 8, 64. Oh god. I need at most 57 artifacts. What do I need for an artifact though? I need 2 artifactos. I'm cooking crazy math. So 4 demonic, 9 celestial. Future problem for future me.
Unfortunately, that is a future problem for future me now, so I gotta get back on the soul grind. And oh, any artifactos I would likely find would also come in handy.
Ooh, hey there. I like artifacts.
Which continued into and all throughout day 93 as well. And by the end of day 93, I farmed some blood at the kill chamber. Day 94 consisted of me collecting primal souls. I finally returned back to base on day 95 to craft what hopefully would be the last artifacto.
Hopefully the final artifact though.
I summoned him in the desert as usual, but I seemed to get a little bit too close to him because...
What?
Yeah, I have no idea what he just did to me because I got clapped by an artifacto. Anyway, I returned back on my Rudolph and whistled my bee and grabbed myself right in front of the artifacto. And then I proceeded to clap him by getting stuck in between these rocks. With all the artifacts secured, I wanted to make another primal smithy as the one I've been using is getting a little bit too messy.
Dude, I'm about to make another primal smithy. Alright, so this is gonna be my like boss crafter stuff.
And with that constructed, it was now time to fill up the new smithy with blood. Okay, that sounds awful, but that's what I'm gonna do. So anyway, I also grabbed a bunch of eggs of every different blood type. And I then proceeded to commit unforgivable crimes inside the chamber once again. Day 96 began with me taking out the few origins left for the emperors. One of them also possessed powers beyond human comprehension and decided to nope out of the fight by pulling Houdini's favorite move. Now you see me, now you don't.
Rex go.
Anyways, I summoned and killed everything else.
It just goes under the floor. Definitely gonna have to craft some more tributes because I got scammed, dude.
Almost everything else. Looking at my losses back at base, I somehow had lost 2 Rex tributes. So I crafted and summoned and clapped 2 new Rexes and proceeded to kill any origins that spawned in the wild. After that, I returned back to base to craft the rest of the origins so I could kill a bunch of emperors and empresses soon. And I sacrificed a few dodos to the blood gods and then went outside to collect all the origin tributes I crafted.
Finally! That should be all the origin tokens. Now I have to kill 3 empresses and 4 emperors.
And that's exactly what I did on day 97. I started off by killing all 3 empresses one by one, and then I returned to grab the emperors.
Ooh. I might be cooked here, chat. Oh, and it's dead.
And so is Indominus number 2. And number 3...
Oh, I'm right next to I'm dead. I'm dead. No!
But my bee clutched up and killed the Emperor. However, this wasn't good news as I didn't get the soul that I needed.
Let me get the soul real quick.
So I hit up my boys at the Ark Gods Institution again, and they hooked me up with the soul. Anyways, I killed the last Emperor as well, and it was time to move up a tier and kill 2 Novas and 2 Pecans again. But for that, I need 4 sets of every origin tribute, that which equals to 32 crafts.
And I can craft 2.
And I didn't have any Fabled Dinos breeding at the time, as I had them all working on producing eggs for me. So after a quick change in professions, Fabled blood production was now in full steam once again. On day 98, I sacrificed more innocent beings for the greater good of progress before heading out to collect the artifacts on Rudolph. And I then repeated the cycle until I had everything I needed to craft all the origin summoners.
Okay, let's craft 4 of each.
I then grabbed all the summoners and executed them in the desert.
Alright. All 32 origins dead. Hopefully that's the last origins I ever have to kill, but it probably won't be. Even though it is, oh my god, it's day 99.
Yeah, the late game grind of this mod is super repetitive and honestly just unnecessary. Having killed so many bosses and spent so much time flying around killing things has made me lose track of the days. That being said, I still needed more celestial souls for the rest of day 99, so I hunted down the celestials that I could find. And day 100 would also spend out in the wild, hunting demonics for a change. Yeah, once I looked at the time on day 99, I realized just how late I was gonna complete this challenge in 100 days. Now, I know I promised that I'd beat Pecan's Revenge in 100 days, but seeing how far I've come and how hard I tried, I'm not gonna give up even if it takes a few extra days.
Well, day 100's come and gone, and I'm still farming.
And farm I did. I killed an inhuman amount of both Celestials and Demonics all the way through days 101 and 102. At this point, I might as well rename myself to the Grim Reaper because I feel like I've taken more souls than he has. And the enormous farming session ended on day 103.
Bang, I have enough. Now I just need orbs. I think I miscalculated how many souls I need.
But after some sacrificing more fabled PTs, I made all the orbs and I still had enough souls left for all the bosses.
Okay, finally all the orbs. But now I guess I'm gonna need more oh, I don't need more souls? Dang, only artifacts. Oh, they doubted me. They doubted me. I need 8 artifacts.
My calculations were correct as always, and anyone that doubted me can take this L. So I only needed 8 artifacts. So I jumped on Rudolph and collected the 2 that I knew of, then located an artifacto with the creature finder.
We need more artifacts. Brandon doesn't give me either of the 2 I just got.
I flew over, popped out my demonic phony dragon, and one-shotted the artifacto.
But it gave me both of them.
The chances of that happening were slim to none, yet it still happened. Anyways, I brought them both back home, and then waited by the snow mountain for the artifact to respawn. And once it did, I grabbed it and flew out to the other one. This should be the last artifact I would need, so I then returned back to base and crafted 2 more Novas and 2 Pecans.
2 Novas, 2 Pecans. Time to get back to killing.
And with no time to waste, I returned to the infamous boss killing desert and put an end to both of Nova's reigns.
Second and hopefully final Nova day.
Time for the Pecans. I spawned the first one in and immediately flew away to lose its aggro. However, this Pecan didn't find much interest in the sand as the last few Pecans did. But once I left render and returned, he was there eating the ground again.
Stuck in the ground. Don't know why they do that when you render, but they do. I'm not complaining.
From that point, it was just a matter of sending nuclear suns into a collapsed dead. Well, I say collapsed, but...
What? Okay.
But I didn't get the soul from this one, so I made a quick call to my boys again, and as always, they got me covered. On the beginning of day 105, I summoned and fought the second Pecan, but this time it ended in disaster.
Oh. What?
I respawned, jumped on Rudolph, and flew right back just to get obliterated out of the sky.
Oh my god.
And to make matters worse, I had to wait for my bed cooldown as I still only had 1 bed somehow. Anyways, once I got back up, I grabbed a spare tech suit and a bunch of healing potions in my own Nova to finish the fight with.
Why is it killing me?
Even though the Pecan was stuck eating the ground, my character was taking damage off of Nova, and I had to use potions on myself as well, but that didn't stop me from clapping the boss.
Oh, dude, that annihilated it.
Then I tried getting my stuff back, but...
Dude! Oh my god.
Anyways, I returned on the Chaos Bee and took care of the drone and then grabbed all my stuff, including the Spirit Bee. And with all 4 souls acquired, it was now time to start working on the Colossus. Yeah, it turns out I was still in fact missing a few souls, so here's a quick montage of me getting them all. I finished my Grim Reaper duties on day 106.
Okay, that's all the souls.
And when I returned back to base, a few rebellious dinos were waiting for me, harassing my tames.
What?
I put an end to their riot, however, and got back to the task at hand. I am locked in. Day 107, I first farmed some Mayho berries on my Bronto in the Redwoods as I needed them to make the remaining pieces of kibble for the orbs. And once I was back at base, I managed to craft 5 of each that I needed. But I wasn't able to craft the Colossus just yet. I need 200 feathers of each type and 2 artifacts for each. So I set out on my Spirit Bee as I normally do and collected all the feathers and 6 out of 8 artifacts before the end of the day. Day 108, I collected the last 2 artifacts after waiting for what felt like an eternity for them to spawn in. And when I returned back to base, I discovered that it was an active war zone with babies that somehow managed to hatch and grow were now fighting my tames. But I quickly ended the revolt and set my sights back on the main goal of killing the Colossus. So I then proceeded to craft all 4 Colossus summoners as well as some healing potions for Nova who would be fighting the boss on the backup. And I then ran out into the desert and decided that I'd fight the Ice Colossus first. That's weird. Didn't know I could just get dismounted like that. Let me try again. So I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to kill this guy. I tried raising Pecans to soak the damage, but they died in almost a minute. And I even raised multiple different Novas after the prior one died. But I kept getting dismounted before I could even get close enough to output any serious damage. Alright, this is my last attempt. It has to be. I've raised another Nova with a great saddle and dino treats which should prevent me from being dismounted. So let's do this.
What? No!
So I admit defeat. I went into this challenge confident that this time I would actually be able to defeat Picon's Revenge. But I didn't even make it to see him face to face. I did worse than last time. I'm not sure what changed, but my pride has definitely taken a hit. They say you have to have lows in life to truly appreciate the highs, and this is definitely a low. I'm sorry for the anticlimactic ending, and I'm sorry for failing you all. It won't happen again. Have a good one. I hope you can forgive me. Bye.